party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. All of the Barbies is bad. It girls, and we ain't playing tag. Rad, but he spank me when I get bad. I'm in LA, Rodeo Drive. I'm in New York, Madison Ave. I'm a Barbie girl. Pink Barbie dream house. The way Ken be killing shit got me yelling out like the scream house. Yelling out, we ain't selling out. We got money, but we ain't lending out. We got bars, but we ain't belling out. In that pink Ferrari, we pillin' out. I told Tay, bring the Bob Dylan out. The poop so cold, we just chillin' out. Baby yelling, yet yelling out. It's Barbie, bitch, if you still in doubt. And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. All of the Barbies is bad. It girls, and we ain't playing tag. Barbie ain't nothing to play about. He wanna play in the playhouse. What they gon' say now? I'm watching these bitches, I'm rubbing a stain out. Like I'm ready to bend. All the fake Barbies just wanna pretend. Like, bro, let me go find me a pen. Look where it led. Now I'ma put it to bed. She a Barbie bitch with her Barbie click. I keep dragging her so she bald a bit. And I see the bread, I want all of it. And I want the green, so I all of it. And I throw it back so he losing it. And I give the box with no shoes in it. Yeah, I know the trick, so I got him brick. Yeah, they know who it, me and Barbie, bitch. And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. All of the Barbies.
All right, I am good. Let me
do your thing.
Okay. I just don't have a light. I don't have my ring light, so it's just.
Hey. All right, so let's get ready to rumble. Jip, we got Bray in the building. What is going on? Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Let me pause this music. Let me find something.
Oh man, I missed it.
What'd you miss?
The song.
Oh no, it's all good. You know what I'm saying?
You know, I'm an ice lover.
Why?
Because she just sound like she don't care. All her songs.
But
she be really like, I ain't trying to really be here. Right.
Exactly. Which is problematic. I'm not really trying to be here, but I want y'all to pay for it. You feel me? Best
and y'all gonna pay.
Thumbnail
because she a baby.
Ever. Best thumbnail ever. I agree. Thank you, Kenzie. And I don't even, you know what I'm saying? I snapped on that one. But
it's
anyway.
so weird.
I know, right? Inya. What's going on, Inya? What's going on?
Nightmare fear a little bit. Hey, Inya. Yeah,
so we'll see how long before they shut my stream down.
I'm about to say, listen to this carpet. You know, they gonna be done deleting the whole stream. But y'all playing this song.
Okay,
I actually learned an interesting fact about that Aqua. What is it? Who made that song? Somebody. The original one of this song samples. Mattel had them. Yeah, they had them change the lyrics. I never knew that. Did you know that? Is he frozen?
I see me glitching already.
I was like you really leaning into that Barbie aesthetic because you was like not moving. I thought you was a Barbie. Okay, hey Ken.
Thank you, Inya. Thank you so much. It's not Ken. I'm 10.
Okay, 10. Okay, I see. Because a dime, but Ken, I got you. I'm seeing the vision. Okay, master of wordplay. There you go.
Yeah.
Let me turn this up a little bit. Okay.
All right, cool. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to. This is pretty much the Ism show. You know, I want to keep that name for when me and Bray are together because it's special. Okay. It's special to me. So, you know, I went pink. We got the pink popping off all around, man. Yeah. So
my pink ain't pinking though, because it's a little yellow because of the light. But it's all right. I have my real lights in a couple weeks.
That's what's up. I mean, you know, we all got to start somewhere. The bangs.
How do you have them just in your face? And not, like, I don't know how you do that.
Well, because I'm a man still. At the end of the day, I'm still a man, so I can suffer
in your face
with inconvenience. Yeah, but see, y'all got to have everything perfect, and see me, I can suffer for the beauty. See, this looks amazing. So this in my face look amazing.
It's
given. It's given. Nova was in the pictures in the of his pants. I'm like,
Of his what?
You ain't see the pictures in the Discord?
No, of his
after I sent the picture, she showed a picture of him like from the abdomen down, and I'm like,
oh,
is that to show your bulge? Like what?
Not Nova showing bulge pics in the Discord. Okay.
What's up, Harris Tribe Media Group in the building? Hello. We popping in the tank because we about to talk about Barbie just a little bit. Barbie and 10 in the building. Now, there's a couple things I did not know, Bree. I just found this out today. Barbie's full name is Barbara Millicent Roberts.
Yeah, isn't she like the lady daughter?
Yeah.
Can we get some like Barbie lore?
Yeah, and Ken is her son. Her son was Kenneth. Right. And we've been pairing Barbie and Ken the whole time, like lovers.
I think, he was marketed as her boyfriend.
But Barbara's her daughter. Kenneth is her son. Right.
He definitely was marketed as Barbie's boyfriend when he came out. I mean, you just like, it's just the name, I guess, but that's still weird.
It's a little
weird. Still feels weird, even though it's just the name. Like, the name, just literally just the name what came from him. That's it. But it just feels weird.
It's definitely when I found out, I was like, you're the daughter and the son? Like, why would they?
That's weird.
But that made
somebody else's name.
I would have picked somebody else's name, but it made the movie make a little bit more sense. But why she was asexual towards him?
Yeah,
why she would be asexual towards him, but it was then weird why he'd be sexual towards her. But anyway.
Yeah, well, like, why would he be sexual? Yeah, that's so weird, but
it is very weird. That was her husband. Yeah, we all thought that. Love it. Thank you. What's up, Tyler?
Not husband. He definitely was always marketed as her boyfriend.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Barbie's never got married.
It all makes sense now. Yeah, that's a brother and sister. Ken and Barbie are brother and sister in real life. In Mattel land, they've been marketed as boyfriend and girlfriend. So let me get a quick dab. I did not bring the fan in here, so it's a little.
I swear, as soon as the live button go off, it be hot. I have this dress has sleeves, and I just refuse to put them on because I'll be sweating.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just
to
get into it.
Dramatic.
Don't be a hater. How am I supposed to do it?
I mean, it's just like a little. Yeah,
it's
just
It was the opening the shades. Those two curtains.
It was a lot.
Bree looks great in
we
pink. Okay. Did you stop the music or did I stop it?
No, you stopped it. I was just about to say, where's the music?
Yeah, I'll put something different on.
Some background.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
I'm about to say, that rip me out the plastic.
Yeah, not that. I gotta find something that's kind of playful.
License-free music.
Absolutely.
It's very I don't know.
Bumpy.
You can look at my music. I was gonna say you can always go in my music and play like Ice Cream. No, that's too short though.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, so we got Summer in the building. Hello. We got Bravo with Sheila Network. Hello. Good to see you all in the building. 10, and we got Barbie in the building. Good to see y'all. So we gonna talk a little bit about the movie. So Bree, like just a glance, like your feelings about the movie. What did you think about the movie itself?
I enjoyed it. I liked this is 10. I liked the movie. It was enjoyable as far as just like a standalone enjoyable movie. Like it was funny. It made fun of itself in a lot of places. Like it had a lot of intelligent jokes in there. It was cute. It was self-aware, breaking the fourth wall, all that kind of stuff. Like I thought it was really the first act of the movie I really super enjoyed.
Yeah.
It was really, really good. So yeah, I loved it. And I cried at some parts too. It definitely like pulled on my heartstrings. Yeah.
Where did it get you at?
Ugly crying, like The part where, okay, spoiler alert. So, like at the end of the movie, when Barbie was getting her wish to turn to go to the real world, finally, for real, and they did the part where the original Barbie lady was telling about how mothers stand still so their daughters could see how far they've gone. Like, ooh, so I was just like, ooh, I was just crying after that. And then like the whole montage of all the women and the girls, it was beautiful. They made me cry.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yeah.
I did enjoy it as well. I'm gonna tell you my first pass, I did enjoy the movie, but I was making notes. So me, like, I don't know if that made the pacing different, because when I tried to watch it through, I didn't enjoy it as much. When I tried to watch it straight through as a movie without like making notes, I didn't enjoy it as much, and it felt way more campy than when I was trying to.
It was so camp though, but I love camp. I enjoy camp, so it was very camp. They did it well. But if you don't enjoy camp, you probably won't like this movie.
Might not be for you. Not be for you. Greetings, Von Brian. Good to see you. And listen,
I did see the movie. That's why I said spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, y'all. Spoiler alert. If y'all have not seen the Barbie movie but intend to, we're gonna talk about stuff that happened in the movie. So it's been out for a minute. If you're waiting for it to come out on DVD or on Netflix,
it's honestly not one of those movies that the plot is so crazy that like, oh my god, that twist was crazy. I mean,
matter of fact, if you've been online listening to gender dynamic conversations, you've seen this movie. You've seen this movie in conversation form. So
basically, yeah.
But now the bigged thing, I want to play this. This is something Yella shared with us, because I thought it was interesting. Yella sent this to me, and I was like, wow. After I had seen the movie when Yella sent this to us, and I did not pick up on this right here, but I'm gonna play it real quick for the peoples.
Who lives in a secret land full of magic and powerful women. Their realm has been intentionally secluded from the rest of the world, though you can enter this secret realm via certain modes of transportation after leaving and interacting with the outside.
Let me start that over just in case anybody gets distracted by
love that movie about the hero who lives in a secret land full of magic and powerful women. Their realm has been intentionally secluded from the rest of the world, though you can enter this secret realm via certain modes of transportation after leaving and interacting with the outside world. The hero is faced with questions about their society.
Come on now.
Oh, what's happening? Is it like...
Did it stop playing for you? I'm not sure what happened. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I wasn't
sure. I need to...
See, I know StreamYard does that on my side. I'm not sure what...
Access to power would change the...
I was like, if I...
secret realm via certain modes of transportation after leaving and interacting...
Let's see. Give me a second.
I shared from my side, but I think because you're hosting or because you got in here first, it's going to use your internet to filter anything I share through.
It is.
Yeah.
So give me a second, because my internet has been sus. I'll try to share it from this other site. So let me see.
Is that thunder?
Not storming. Oh, gotta unmute. Give me a second.
Enter the secret realm via that movie.
Try this again.
Who lives in a secret land full of magic and powerful women. Their realm has been intentionally secluded from the rest of the world, though you can enter this secret realm via certain modes of transportation after leaving and interacting with the outside world. The hero is faced with questions about their society and why its systems are set up the way they are. A usurper with knowledge of the outside world takes over the magical land, and he has all kinds of new ideas about how they should run things. His sudden access to power would change the outside world as well. In the end, the hero confronts the usurper, who chooses to give up on his own accord, thus restoring the balance of power. The hero convinces everyone that the usurper's ideas were mostly wrong, but they do incorporate some of his principles to make a more just society. The hero then takes steps to become a presence in the outside world. Great movie. Love that movie about the hero who lived...
You muted.
When Yella sent that to us, I was like, wow, I didn't see those parallels from Black Panther. So there was like a Black Panther for white women. I was like, wow. I had never.
I mean, basically.
I was like, I'd never seen those parallels, because on the micro, like if you're like moment to moment in the movie, feminism is more present. But the broader overview, you get that whole Black Panther.
I mean, But that speaks to the both. I think both of the movies generally had kind of the same points. Like, not that one served feminism and one served, I don't know, what would we say, pro-black. I mean, it wasn't really pro-black, but
colonialism or something,
yeah,
anti-colonialism.
it fed, like, so I feel like it kind of makes sense too because of what the Barbie movie was attempting, like, accomplishing, and I feel like it kind of was the same point. So just for different groups, like who the group it was speaking to is different, but I think they both was trying to the group that they were made for, they definitely were like heavy-handed in the imagery, in the messaging, and just like, this is our movie presenting the perfect world where the problem doesn't exist.
Okay, I mean that's a fair point. And it's true that if anybody was to go back, I know people hate some of these trigger terms, but patriarchy and like colonialism are both in this reality, like a stem from white supremacy, like white dominance and colonialism, imperialism. They're all related. It's been male led. What you gonna say?
I was gonna say they both Marxists.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Ain't nothing wrong with little Marxism. Ain't nothing wrong with little Marxism.
It's the Marxism as a theory, a theoretical worldview in which to view the problems of the world, and simply leaving it there is perfectly fine. But see, when people get a hold of Marxism who ain't never heard nothing, they can't handle it and they go crazy.
Give me a quick second.
That's my problem with Marxism. Marxism as a thing is fine, but it's people getting access to Marxism who's not ready to handle that information.
But I would say the same thing of all ideology, like Marxism, feminism, pro-black Afrocentrism. All of them
those are all Marxist.
They're all problematic. All problematic if all you can do is identify a problem, but you can't identify a solution. Like, everybody seems to do the same thing. I can identify the problem, but I have no idea what the solution looks like. So in the meantime, let's do this thing within the six structure, the thing that we want to tear down. Well, let's abolish capitalism, but let's sell T-shirts to do it.
Right.
Like, come on. Like,
look, they're all offshoots of Marxists. They all have the same framework of a Marxist ideal, which is oppressed, oppressor. But the thing is, it's not made to actually solve the problem. It's just a way to identify problems, right? So it was never meant to solve the problem. It was just like, this is a system you can use to identify problems within a structure. That's it. So I think that's all it ever was. So that's my problem with it. And all of these are offshoots of it.
I can definitely agree with that. In the meantime, I found some, and again, this was just, I woke up and I saw some stuff just come across my eyeballs. And I wanted to bring this in because this stuff is these themes, when we talk about the movie, these themes are going to come up. So I wanted to talk about this stuff to you because this was first thing when I opened IG will be the first thing. I turned on the television and then I saw the subsequent two things that I all stitched together. So I want to talk to you about them because it's going to bring in the themes from the movie.
Me, sir, your efforts are not going unnoticed. The level of,
I know we can't see old boy. Give me a second, y'all. Let me because I did not make a slim one like I did on Critically Drinking. So let me go over here.
He's very intense.
He's a very intense dude. Give me a quick second. I gotta.
He talks with his whole body.
Man, don't he though? Boom. All right, now y'all can be able to see him. All right, cool. We'll go back over to the pank in a minute.
Excuse me, sir. Your efforts are not going unnoticed. The level of protection, as well as the level of don't play with them, that comes from your mere existence is one that'll just likely only be recognized from those who provide the same service. You work a thankless job, see? That's one that if you do your job well, no one will recognize it. Things are just working as they expect them to do on a regular basis. I see you, we see them, those that do what you do, and we mustn't forget that absolutely anybody can get it.
My thing when I saw that, Brie, go ahead.
I don't know what he meant. I don't know what he said. I don't know what he was saying.
Well, what he said is you have a thankless job. You have a thankless
Okay.
job. And this was a big thing in the movie. Being thanked, being applauded. Yes. Oh my gosh. Everything was highly applauded, no matter how small it was. And he's talking about, he was talking mostly to men because we are trained through such thing as that from the men in our lives, from every area. You are not supposed to seek validation, approval, a cheerleading team. You're not supposed to look for those things. The people that do what you do will recognize your efforts, but it's a thankless job that you do, is what he was saying.
Okay.
And I think that's a societal accepted, that's an accepted societal dynamic that stems from, I would say, patriarchy. We can say patriarchy. Just to be lazy today, it's patriarchal. You're supposed to do what you got to do. It's expected. It's your duty, responsibility. Right. You perform, and nobody's going to pat you on the back. Nobody's going to thank you. Nobody's going to stand on the side and cheer for you unless you do something extremely exceptional. So that's that first dynamic. But then again, like I said, I got off the phone. I turned on the TV, and these were like the first few things I came across. Hand to God. I was like, wow, this is incredible. So hold on. Let's see if this plays.
It just feels good to be celebrated.
Ooh.
What she said was kind of, I couldn't fix the audio.
It feels good to be celebrated.
It feels good to be celebrated. These are the Lady Tigers, LSU Tigers, who won the national championship in basketball.
Okay.
Basketball players, but it's young black women doing this on one of the largest platforms at PWI representing LSU. Like, it's bigger than us. It's overwhelming, but it's definitely worth it. Like, we champs. Like, we the champs.
So it's bigger than us. It's good to do this. It's black, all the identity stuff. You know, it's black women.
Right.
It's bigger than us. Okay, cool. So then hold on. Next lady got to talk.
For a fresh start. I just wanted a fresh start.
Hold up real quick. Because she's the star in the white. Or the light.
Oh, who is she?
Transferred to LSU. It was just for a fresh start.
I can't remember her name anymore. I knew her name. If you'd have asked me before the stream, I knew her name. But right now, I'm coming up completely blank. But she's the star. She's the one everybody knew. I think I can't remember. There was a story a while back where a white girl that did some kind of gesture, like shush or something. And then when that girl did it, she got all kinds of flack for being unsportsmanlike.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted a fresh start. I had been in college already for 2 years, and then coming to LSU 1 year, I just want to love and have a coach that was super confident in me.
And I hope I'm not sounding too desperate. I need love and affection.
And being able to have a coach that was confident in me in 1 year and to embrace me and be who I am, and I am unapologetically Angel, and that's who I am, and they embrace that. So I didn't have the thought of winning a championship. Like, I wanted to win a championship, but I just wanted happiness. And then to get all of this was just topped it off. Like, yeah.
Now she's a basketball player, but she wasn't thinking about winning a championship, which is the goal of a basketball player. She wanted love. She wanted somebody that was confident in her, acceptance. She just wanted to feel happy. Actual output and performance was not her focus.
That is very interesting.
Very interesting.
Okay.
Angel Reese. And the first lady was like,
well, that's like when people say, if you don't think about it, you just do what you love, and then like all of these things kind of will be added to you. I feel like it's kind of like that bullshit. But
could be.
Yeah, it feel that way.
Let me see. I think there's one more. I was like, wow. It all came back to back. Every time I changed the channel, it was something along the same thing. Okay, no, this was YouTube. I saw this Yella in the building. This is for you, homeboy.
Secret. Yeah, you see, Becky Lynch is not doing so good. She confided in me. You see, she got real close to me. She opened up and she told me she's having a hard time with the pressure of being the top of the women's division, being the man and being a mom. And it's been too much for her. And listen, I understand because I'm a mom as well, and I have 2 children and a plethora of other things. But I'm thriving. Becky, not so much. And I would watch her and I'd see her cracking. I could see the pressure crumbling. And I just decided I had to take her out of her misery. So really, What she needs to be doing is sitting at home and saying, "Thank you, Trish. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Trish." Yeah, see, you get it.
Now I played that because it brought up the dynamic from the movie, like the thankless
Trish.
job of women and how much y'all have to take on and being a mother
Yeah.
and doing all this stuff. And I'm cracking, but I'm thriving. The image of the Barbie who's perfect and can do everything versus a real person who has unremovable thought, unstoppable, unceasing thoughts of death, like all this stuff and cellulite. And it was interesting. I was like, wow, this stuff is just like coming. Like, what's all this stuff coming to me today for?
They was
crazy.
giving you. They was just like, you need to understand.
During,
I don't know. I feel like it would be hard for any man to watch that and feel like take it seriously, like the Barbie movie, because of what they're saying. Like the average woman is preoccupied with. I feel like I don't know. I just when I was watching it, I definitely to some degree connected to some degree, but I couldn't even imagine a man for sure, especially a black man. I don't know. Just feel like how do you not watch that and be like the average person?
I don't think the average person could feel it or understand, like, or really like.
No, I think women could. No, I think women could.
I think women could because you're trained to.
Yeah.
Like you're trained to be in the victim space.
I don't think
at the same time as your.
I
know you don't think that. This is from my perspective. Rashawn believes that women are trained to think with a victim mind, from a victim stance. We covered that with the whole narcissist thing. Men are predators. The language every time. We talked about it the other day. I think I can't remember what we were talking about. Matter of fact, it was last night, and the thing was women can't be perceived as predators. So if men are in the space, this action is automatically seen as sexualization. If women do it, we're in a safe space, blah blah blah. It's friendly. It's just assumption of like villainization that comes with men. So that's what I'm saying. So that means the opposite side of the coin would then also be true. If men are assumed villains, who are they villainizing? It would be women. Right. So the default status is that women are the victims in a man's world. So like women would be trained to accept that, but I'm like the average guy, it would be hard to. I'll say like the average guy, it would be hard to connect to that. So.
Yeah, I mean, it was just as hard as it would be for a man to connect to feminism. I mean, that's basically what this movie was. So I feel like it's the same. It's as hard as it would be for the men to connect to the pillars and the arguments of feminism. You would have a hard time connecting to this movie. But I think most women, because of the feminist worldview, could connect to it in some way, even if all of the struggles don't relate. Like this movie just felt very white feminism for me.
Yes.
So that's why I'm saying like I could connect to it to some degree, but then like there's also a slew of problems that white feminism just does not
address for black women.
Yeah. Right.
And that's the other thing I would say as far as the average person, like in our spaces, the movie was very antiquated. It was at, Make America Great Again, 1950 aesthetic. Like even the Barbie Corvettes were those 1950 tail fin type Corvettes. And shout out to Von Bryan who passed through, and Quantum, Dean of Metaphysics, and Zuri. I don't know who I shouted out, but I've shouted you out now. Appreciate you. Now, here's the thing, and I wish guys could, I guess guys probably need to hear this, and I think women need to hear this from men too. Because although women feel like they're unappreciated and they have to take on so much, and it's spoken on in the movie. I'm going to play a clip from it, audio only. I'm going to play a clip from it. But I think everybody kind of needs to see, like, hear this next message. This is actually talking about team coaching and team building in the employment sector. Like, as far as, this was a local news segment, and they were talking to a couple of coaches who try to build teams.
Know when you should say thank you. This is a funny story. Like, thank you, Robin, because we know now what's out of your scope, and you've just done me a favor by doing a task that you weren't supposed to do.
Okay.
So we call that a deposit. Like, oh my gosh, you just did me a favor, and I didn't even realize it. So you might be doing things that are outside of your task to help others, and they don't even know it because
they don't even realize.
They don't even realize because they think that's your job. They don't realize that you're going over and above. So we always say, when do I say I thank you?
Thank you for your time. Thank you, Trish. Yeah, see, you get it.
Yeah, you don't realize that. And that can probably do so much for morale. Yeah, so much, right?
It can help overload, because sometimes somebody who sees something that needs to be done and just goes and does it.
Yeah.
Over a period of time, they're doing all kinds of things, right?
Is it up to overloaded? It could get overloaded.
People can get overloaded if they're the type of person, if they have the disposition to go ahead and just pick up everything. So if you do have like that narrative in your head that I'm supposed to be able to do everything, I'm the savior, I've got to pick up all the slack, my husband's an infant, you're probably going to get overwhelmed. Like if that's your role, if you're the savior, if you're the rescue ranger, whatever, however you verbalize it, if that's your theme, if that's your story arc, you're probably going to get overtaxed because one, you will enable a dynamic where the other person just doesn't have to do their share just because you always pick it up, always. But I think on the other side of that, it would be good for each of us to learn to appreciate and verbalize thanks for what the other person does. I think that would be useful.
I mean, yeah, I guess it'd be nice, but I don't really need the thank you. Like, you could just do your shit.
I mean, that would be optimal.
Thanks for doing my job. I'll make sure I say it every time you do my job. Like, no, bitch, do your job. How about that?
I mean, that would be
How
cool.
about that? It just feels very fluffy for me. Like, if you say thank you to me when I'm doing your job, then I'll be much more like higher morale while I'm still doing your job.
But I think one of the biggest things that people have an issue with is that it's not even recognized when somebody else is picking up your slack.
That is true.
So like, so it's like, at least
like,
oh crap, thank you for picking up the slack that I dropped. I actually literally was supposed to do that. And I'm thanking you for taking care of that for me. So I think that's important. What's up, New Growth, Old Soul in the building? Hello. Good to see you. I'm going to play this speech real quick from the movie. Patrick Skovgaard. I ate a carrot with shit on it. Okay, well, I mean, that happens from time to time. I mean, it happened to me twice yesterday.
Hey, New Growth.
Now, this was like one of the pivotal moments, I guess.
The speech.
The speech. Going along
I liked
with
this part.
It was actually interesting. And it was the part where like the man in me was rejecting it, like you said, like I can't connect to it. I was like, oh my God, I did the what about? Everybody feels like this. But I'm gonna let everybody judge for themselves.
What about us?
Yeah. Everybody needs that thanks.
It is literally impossible to be a woman. You are so beautiful and so smart, and it kills me that you don't think you're good enough. Like,
now, real quick, this is the part where Barbie didn't feel good enough. The symbol of perfection and competence and capability and potential did not feel good enough. So this is her speaking to that point. Like, dang, if even you don't feel good enough.
We have to always be extraordinary. But somehow we're always doing it wrong. You have to be thin, but not too thin. And you can never say you want to be thin. You have to say you want to be healthy, but also you have to be thin. You have to have money, but you can't ask for money because that's crass. You have to be a boss, but you can't be mean. You have to lead, but you can't squash other people's ideas. You're supposed to love being a mother, but don't talk about your kids all the damn time. You have to be a career woman, but also always be looking out for other people. You have to answer for men's bad behavior, which is insane, but if you point that out, you're accused of complaining. You're supposed to stay pretty for men, but not so pretty that you tempt them too much or that you threaten other women, because you're supposed to be a part of the sisterhood, but always stand out and always be grateful. But never forget that the system is rigged, so find a way to acknowledge that, but also always be grateful. You have to never get old, never be rude, never show off, never be selfish, never fall down, never fail, never show fear, never get out of line. It's too hard, it's too contradictory, and nobody gives you a medal or says thank you. And it turns out, in fact, that not only are you doing everything wrong, but also everything is your fault. I'm just so tired. of watching myself and every single other woman tie herself into knots so that people will like us.
I mean, you could always just be likable. I mean, you know, that's a thought. What do you think about that, Brie?
The point is, what is likable though? That's like the whole point, because you always hear do this but not that, do this but not that. So I think the whole point is like, yeah, if I wasn't hearing so many things, it would be easier for me to know who to be. But it's always feels like people are like kind of telling you like who you should be, and who you should be is going to depend on who you're talking to as well. My main problem with that is like this whole speech kind of conveniently leaves out that other women are often those voices telling you those contradictory things. It's not just men. So I don't like that was left out, because that's in reality a lot of that dialogue she was regurgitating. I hear that from women, not men. So I just, that's the part that I think is left out. Like, men aren't telling you this, it's just other women telling you that. So that's the issue I have with that whole speech. It's gonna be assumed, like you could say, well, she didn't say that men or women said it, but it's gonna be assumed because of the feminist energy and message of the movie that men are the ones telling you this. That's gonna be projected onto the speech.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And if you look at the movie, all of the activity was driven by the insecurities of women. Like everything was pushed because, like, well, Barbie was worried about the cellulite and the death and where are these thoughts coming from. And then she went to other women to find a solution, and they drove her, well, you need to go to the real world and fix this rift. It was all from, and instead of being able to accept these negative emotions, it was, oh, I need to fix these negative emotions, and I'm gonna have to go through these drastic steps to accomplish that. None of which the men said to do, none of which the men pushed, none of which the men even had a voice in. The men were all just trying to get attention.
That's all.
Ken's happy if Barbie looks at him, he's happy. That was what the narrator said. So it's
that
like
was his whole point.
His whole point is just to be seen by women, like these red pill guys. I just want to be visible to women. That's it. That's it.
It's
and
true.
Everything else is driven by y'all. Everything else is driven by y'all. All the rest of the crazy stuff, y'all put out there.
The crazy stuff? You mean the other stuff besides
all the pressures, all the social pressures that drive people to the brink? I'm just tired. It's so thankless. All that stuff, it comes from the minds of women. Because most dudes, like we've talked about relationships where dudes are checking out in marriages. They're there. They don't give up on the marriages, but they're not an active participant.
Right.
But the women will leave because they're still driving for certain outcomes. They're not going to settle. They're not going to deal with being unhappy, or they're not going to sit with the negative emotions, even in a relationship, whether they've committed to it or not. They're not going to sit with negative emotions. So that drive to eliminate negative emotions is
I just want happiness. I mean, the top performing athlete said they were not seeking a winning team, not seeking good coaching. They were seeking happiness.
I wanted to be loved, and for
in
somebody
a competitive
to have confidence in me.
I was seeking happiness in a competitive sport.
What are we doing?
I don't know what y'all friends doing. Tia?
Oh, my friends. He was right the first time. Tia, yeah. She was also thriving. She was also thriving. Like one of them.
She was also chasing joy.
Chasing joy. So that's the
feminist, the wave has created the women now kind of free. I was, like, well, you're free now. What are you gonna do? Chase happiness,
But where's the sustainability to that?
That we don't think about stuff like that. That's not sustainability and happiness don't really exist in the same realm. So yeah, no one cares about sustainability as long as you feel like you're. Let
me put that back up. My bad, that was me. I put that music on for the background, but it cut your mic out. Say something again.
Oh, it did?
It did, yeah.
Oh. I was just saying, Yeah, most people just go based off how they feel. If they feel happy, then they are happy. I mean, that's how wishy-washy the idea of chasing happiness is. It's a feeling. It's not really grounded in anything.
And that's one of the things I got from the movie. Like, cause it was. I would tell you, it's entertaining. If you watch it once, it's definitely entertaining. It does have a lot of, like, I would say, like, movement. Everything progresses. It's steady movement. They're not dull moments where everything just dries up and is fully dialogue driven. As far as the movie itself, it will keep you paying attention. If the feminism doesn't put you off, if you can just like watch it as people going through drama, you can enjoy the movie.
I thought the ending was how they ended it. It was weird. I don't know. It's just a lot. I don't know if I would watch it again. I don't know if I would watch it again. I feel like it's a one and doneer for me.
It wasn't as good when I watched it the second time, but like it was because like all of the surprise had been taken out of it. Like what I could have been surprised by had been taken out. Yeah. So there's not much behind it. Without the novelty, it's really mundane. Like without the novelty and the first time it all hits your eyeballs and the jokes and like fourth wall stuff, without that, the story itself kind of falls flat. Much like
you feel like, what's the point? It's like this journey we went on. Like we went there and back and there again, and it's like, and what was the point?
Yeah. What did we learn? Because at the end of it, it was still the same dynamics. We got back to the place we started, where women use manipulation to trick the men out of having any political power or agency or autonomy.
That was such a crazy montage. I was laughing though the whole time, but it was also sad. Like there's this montage. This is the third act of the movie where the men have the power and the women take it back by pretending to be interested in whatever they're talking about. And while the men are so preoccupied with basically seducing the Barbies, they basically do the important stuff when the men are fighting. Now they're fighting each other because they got into jealous fits of rage, complete with the dance battle.
Which was
great.
Which was
it's
great.
like a fever dream. But yeah, like I thought that little montage was funny. I was like, what is beeping? Oh, that was my door. But I thought that it was also sad that like the only time you listen to what a guy likes or wants to talk about is if you're trying to take power from him. That was
absolutely. The entire movie, the men weren't really considered. Like they were not thought about. Because like even when the little girl, I think it was Sasha, had asked Barbie, where does Ken live? And she was like, I don't know. The entire movie was the Kens being the background, invisible. Even when Ken was riding the car, like even to the thumbnail. Because in this scene, when he had the stowaway in the car, when Barbie's going to fix her reality and seal the rift and everything by finding the little girl that was having the dark thoughts and all that stuff, Ken just stowed away. And then when he asked to be, well, can I get in the front seat? No, the entire rest of the trip, he was in the back seat. He played the back the entire remainder of the time, which I thought was kind of interesting. I had to explain the gynecology bit to my niece. I feel like they used that ending weirdly. And I was going to bring that up, Summer. Now, listen, if women go through all this trouble to heal themselves in their, I will say their thought life and in their real life, why was the first thing that they took care of was their vagina? When you have a feminist theory movie, the thing of importance, when you finally get your agency, autonomy, everything, you are embodying womanhood. The thing that's important was the vagina.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
It's like the whole thing about like identity and all this, like what is a woman, and like it's just very weird.
Yeah,
it was very weird. But I did also feel like there was this undertone of the movie kind of doing commentary on like reproductive rights as well. There's this like quiet underlining point of that in the movie. So I'm like, maybe that's why they chose that ending. It was just so weird.
But that's
exactly. That's the point, Yellow. Like what? That's why it was a strange choice for me, because typically now this is feminist theory. So I mean, feminist theory could be very comfortable with that statement. But yeah, that was just weird.
After spending the entire movie affirming the ability and capability of women to inhabit any role and not be sidelined to making sandwiches and pouring drinks, the first thing I was like, okay, now Barbie's a real woman. Vagina. Not career, not what do you want to do.
She was going to go get a job.
Something. That's what I thought. I was like, okay, she's about to embark on her career, because when Ken went to embark on his career, he just thought being a man would get him in the door. That was his whole.
So it would have made sense that Barbie would go on that same journey, and we would end there or something like that. That would seem more in line, especially because this movie felt like it was more commenting. It was from the perspective of, almost to me, with how white it was, it's like first wave and second wave feminism, which is like suffrages, women being able to go to work and like all that stuff. So it just felt like it should end there.
Yeah.
But for it to end with like commentary about reproductive rights, that was weird.
We don't, because that means we don't really need to move anywhere. We don't need to move from patriarchy, because your value is found in your vagina. That's the story that feminism is trying to overcome. Our values not just in our vagina. We're more than just sex objects. Okay.
So now let's go get our vaginas looked at. I guess it was, maybe she was like, well, she finally has a vagina now.
I mean, it's a cute joke as far as now she's anatomically correct, which I kind of got that aspect of it. But I wouldn't want to end on that note in a movie that went so far to say how capable women are. And let's have an ordinary Barbie. And let's have a Barbie that, a regular mom Barbie. She could be a mom, or she could be an astronaut. She could be a mom that wants to be an astronaut, or astronaut wants to be a mom. Like, you go down this whole road about what women are capable of just to, I want to check out I want to make sure my vagina is okay.
Even if we would have had like Barbie going to college and like going into a women's studies class, that would have been more like, that makes sense. I don't know, like, it's just anything. The gynecology thing was weird, and the kids were like, what is that? It's just
weird. Well, you'll be there soon.
Right.
You'll be there.
Yeah. And it was just very not but the end of the movie fell flat in that way, because it was like, well, the Kens were homeless, like in Barbie Land. They had no homes. Because it was like this juxtaposition of like, well, the Kens in Barbie Land are like women in the real world.
Yes, it's inverted.
But it was like, not really though, because we're not all homeless
at all.
And like the Kens had no homes. And then like, even when we get to the end where everything is tied up in a neat bow, it's like, okay, Kens, we take our houses back, but maybe we'll have some nights where we hang out with the Kens too. And maybe y'all can have some position, but they didn't even address anything. Yeah. So it kind of just went back to how it was just, the end fell flat for me. It had no point.
To me, though, the way I interpreted that was they inverted the gender dynamics. But the homeless Kens was like women not being able to own property. Like everything was trying to be more.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like women were in that position, and even if women get power, they don't consider they didn't change anything. So even when they got power, all they did was rename the things that were like, so if we're referring it, when women get power, all they do is rename the things that men have made.
Right.
So for the men, they renamed the things that women have made. So it was, instead of the Barbie doll house, it was the man Mojo Dojo or whatever it was. So it's like, I'm just going to inhabit the things that somebody else built and put my garnish on it, but not really actually build any systems.
But we're so far past second wave or first wave feminism here now that it's weird that that's I feel like Barbie Land is like first wave. Like they're starting feminism. Like they're starting it. They're first wave. We're way past it. But even for the narrator to be like, just like in the real world, the Kens, but it's not like that now. Like we're in wave 4, fifth wave almost. That's what I'm saying. Like the movie felt very much so like it was speaking from the place of first or second wave feminism, which is why it feels like Barbie should just got a job at the end. You know what I mean? But then it's like to try to say, well, that's how it is in the real world. It's like, no, we have jobs in homes in 2023. Like that's not, if you're talking about fourth or fifth wave feminism, it's actually, which is actually hilarious because you wouldn't have made the point or the main character of this movie white stereotypical Barbie.
Right.
Actually gonna comment on feminism as it stands now, you would have not even made this movie the way you made it. So stick to wave 1 and 2 and let Barbie get a job. But like the Kens, yeah, like we're not homeless. We can buy property now. Like it's just weird. I don't know. It was just weird. It was like feminism frame they wanted to speak from. They just threw all feminism in there. It was weird.
Yeah. Because even the casting was a very modern diversity and inclusion type. I mean, there was even like in the dance number, there was even a woman in a wheelchair. Like during the choreographed dance routine. So I mean, they've got the body positive woman, they had black, they had Asian, they had disabled. So like they were definitely going for inclusion.
And what was the point of putting all that in there? What was the point of putting them all in there if you were just gonna still tell the story from the frame of the first stereotypical 1950s Barbie?
Right. It was cobbled together. It was a Frankenstein. Was there any black characters in the movie? Issa Rae was president. Black Barbie was president.
It was black. Yeah, it was a couple black. Yeah, it was some black Barbies in there.
And
it was Barbie Land was really inclusive.
Yeah, stereotypical Ken had like a best friend Ken that was black. And then there was another Ken who when everybody tried to get rid of all the feminism and the Kenanism, there was one Ken and one Barbie. That black Ken who rejected all the new stuff, progressivism, who wanted it the old way, he was black too. The guy with the frosted tips, the frosted hair. He was like, no, I just want my friend. He's like, I just want my friend.
Yeah.
And the friend was the Barbie. They wanted together. She was like, me too, or whatever.
So yeah, there were black characters in the movie, but they didn't matter. I mean,
what? Well, the new Ken got the drip. New Ken got the fire drip. What are you talking about? When he caught the drip, he's like, we were only fighting because we didn't know who we were. The tall,
but like, why did Ken even pass this? So what did Ken end up doing? Because Barbie left.
Lots of isms. What did Ken end up doing? I guess he found himself because he is Kenough.
And now he went to go find himself.
Did he? Did he leave? I don't remember him leaving.
No, but he stayed. But he just like, I'm gonna figure out what my identity is, unrelated to Barbie, because now she's also gone. So, but I don't know. It's just weird. They don't matter.
They don't matter.
They didn't matter. I feel like, and they tried to do like, okay, we'll have the person who's playing with Barbie is a person, I guess, not a white person, but it was just like, there's a million reasons y'all could have just not told the story from stereotypical Barbie.
Yeah, they tried to do too many things at once. I really feel like not just inverting the roles, like because men and women have all inhabited at some time or another, they could have made it. I'll say they could have made a more cohesive version of this, where things were more consistent, and it would have actually given a message. But men and women through now have all kind of inhabited each of the roles. Men have been both Ken and Barbie. Women have been both Ken and Barbie in different domains, and it could have been something on. I know it's not out on digital yet. It's not out on digital yet. I think they really could have made a message that spoke to something specific and had a resolution. So at the end of this, I think they tried to just make it a feel good for women. Like, so it started with women in power, which felt good. And then they dealt with the reality of women. Same. And then it did the exact same. So instead of dealing with the negative emotions, it was, let's go through all of these mental gymnastics and manipulate men to get back to the delusion. Let's get back to fantasy land and not really have to address any of this stuff. And I feel like
even Barbie experiencing, Barbie experiencing patriarchy didn't even make her have more empathy for kids. Like, she was just like, oh, I could see how she didn't even have empathy for him on her own. He had to be like, you see how it feels, Barbie? And she still was like,
oblivious.
Well, maybe we'll have some kid nights and not all girl nights. It's like, bitch, if you don't get him a house,
Right.
Ken want a house.
Ken want a house.
You
Ken
still
want a
don't
place.
have empathy for
Ken want a
Ken,
friendship.
even though patriarchy and sexualization was so terrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was just weird and violent. They used the word violent. So
I do want to say though, I didn't think about this, but this is something I've been thinking about in a minute. Now that women, like you were talking about the other day, I'm not gonna talk about what it was about, but you were like, I'm seeing the true nature of women. I feel like
talk about it.
Nah, I really don't want to talk about that. I really don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if it's me, we don't have to. You could use the clear words.
No,
but yes, you trying to avoid it. That's fine. Me trying to open Pandora's box.
I don't want to go into that at all. No, they didn't learn a thing. Who did they make a cabinet position for? I can't remember who they made a cabinet position
They let them be a judge, but it was like lower court.
Lower circuit.
Like
lower
Issa
circuit.
said, they're going to be lower circuit, yeah.
But there was somebody they said I would add Weird Barbie. The weird outcast Barbie, they gave her a cabinet position when they got power back. But the men had to go to lower circuit. I'm like, wow.
Well, what's the point of the cabinet? You see, at least one can.
You're not even changing anything. It was crazy. No empathy. Sounds like Barbie might be a narc. Man, it was bad. They were, I promise you, OG Patrice, they were completely oblivious to what men were going through. They were completely oblivious. And the only time when men did something to get their agency and autonomy back, the only thing women could do was, why might they feel this way? What can we do to include them? Maybe we should treat them like people, or we can all be Barbies together. It was, let's make
That's what I thought they were going to do.
Yeah, divide and conquer. Let's make them fight each other, and then we can take the power back. Yeah,
because you would think that, like, if you were like, well, women do everything better because this is feminism we're talking about, or even the frame of the movies, feminism with Barbies, it seems like the Barbies would have taken on the mantle of modeling what this perfect feminist theory world would be like in Barbie land. That's what you would have thought would be the logical conclusion. It's like, even though the real world can't get their shit together, we're enlightened,
we can do
and
it
here in Barbie land, we're gonna do it, But it was like, no. It was so.
We're just gonna do what we think we're just gonna do what we think men would have done. We're just gonna take power back. We're not gonna relinquish power. We're not gonna share power. So at the end of it, I think that was, whether that was intentional or not, I think that's also a critique of feminism, and that whatever it's morphed into, it's not about equal rights anymore. It's about domination. Because I'll shout her out.
They're like, we just gonna have to dominate.
Yeah, the wireless one, which I thought was adorable, was when she talked about we're going to have a revolution, and I can't remember the other word she used. But I'm like, it was very like revolution.
Yeah, it's like we can't work Princella energy. Like, we just can't work with y'all, so we just gonna have to dominate y'all.
Yeah, but it's always weird because the domination is not direct, which is what would have to happen. Because if it's a real world application, let's say you did wrestle political power from men somehow. All of a sudden, political power wouldn't mean anything because we wouldn't abide by the laws. We would then use force to wrestle it back.
Yeah, you need to be able to enforce to dominate. Right. Force is a part of domination.
So like the idea of like trickery to take political power is cute until the political power doesn't go into the hands of the person who can physically manage it.
Right.
I didn't have a role in the Barbie movie with her Barb fans. No,
she just did the title song. She just did the title song.
Girl. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. And also, another part of the movie that I felt I had a big issue with is the idea that Barbie is basically asexual. A lot of feminist theory. They talk about reproductive rights, sexual liberation, great, amazing. But then when you get this movie to just have a fun feminist field day with, there's just like, Barbie's asexual, but Ken is not. And it's just like this whole idea that sexuality only exists because of men, and sexualization only happens with men and women, with men to women, is ridiculous. That part, even while watching the movie, it was very distracting for me, because I'm like, well, why would Barbie be asexual and Ken not be asexual? Like, it's just dumb. If these were dolls created to make this perfect world, and why would you create a sexual being as the boyfriend of an asexual being? I don't know. It was just weird. Like, Barbie being kind of asexual is weird to me. Like this idea that if you remove men, women would be just like asexual and live our best lives.
Yeah. It was that part was silly, especially with all of the men vying for attention. Now, if their every day is perfect, and every day is perfect means the Kens are trying to get the sexual attention of the Barbies. Like that's when they're happy, is when they get looked upon, and when they get the attention of Barbies. That's a weird dynamic to put into feminism. So that we always have the attention of men, but we always reject it. So that's more power. That's more.
It's like you don't know what to do with it.
Well, they don't know. They want the power to not do anything with it. We want to have you wanting us because that gives us control. You want us, we have control. And we have the control and discipline to never fall victim to. We never want your attention. So it's another power dynamic, which I thought was
just so weird.
For toys.
It was so weird.
For toys. It's like,
and if I look at this, it's like, is this some idea of, because in my head, the way the movie set it up is like the real world is patriarchy and Barbie land is basically matriarchy, but not really, because Barbies are asexual. So it wouldn't really be a matriarchy. I don't know what it'd be called. I'm not sure. But yeah, but it's the opposite of here. So I'm like, is this what the world would look like if feminism got its way? Like, it's just so weird. There's just so many questions about what's the point of that. But yeah, women sexualize women and women sexualize men. So I think that's just kind of crazy to just put that on. Only the Kens sexualize the Barbies, you know? I don't know. It's just very strange.
I definitely agree. Real quick though, with that inverted power dynamic, do you think women that saw this movie could see themselves within the struggles of the Kens in this movie? That powerlessness and that wanting to be seen?
No, for me, no. Just because Ken was so ridiculous, and most women like to believe we're highly intelligent and not stupid. So no, I don't think that women would see themselves in Ken. I think more than likely you could say, I know somebody, I know a man like that, you know, the principle of it all. Not that stupid, but like the principle of it all. Like he lives his whole life just to be seen and acknowledged by women. So before I would say I can identify with it, I just like, I know some men like that. I think that's probably what most women would do or think.
And do you think any men could see that they were kind of mirroring the patriarchy with the women on the Barbie side? Could they see themselves like what they've done with the control and power and like isolating other groups, marginalizing them and leaving
the average
without
man?
Agency? Yeah,
the average man?
In general.
The average men don't have enough power to see themselves in it.
Oh.
Yeah, the average man is powerless to the same systems. But I would think that the average man should be able to see himself in Ken. Like, the Ken is the example of why patriarchy doesn't benefit men as well. I think that's like what his character is supposed to be. He suffers the ill effects of patriarchy as well. With this whole, like, you are made to simply serve Barbie. Even though it's weird that this was the dynamic in Barbie land, because I feel like if you think about feminist theory, this is the reality of men under patriarchy and white supremacy. Like, you don't have power, but also like your whole identity is to serve women and like is wrapped into a woman looking at you. So I think men should, so I think men should be able to identify with Ken, even though like he's so ridiculous. I think it would make anybody reject that they could be like him. But I feel like, I feel like when I saw Ken, I'm like, that's the state of most men under patriarchy.
Next question.
Supposedly.
When the movie started and they were talking about since the dawn of time, girls played with baby dolls.
Right.
And then, then came Barbie, like a fashion doll or whatever it was. Why do you think, as far as women, I want to like get into like the mind of a woman here.
Yeah.
Why is the default state of play? Because I've seen this acted out. Why is the default state of play like caring and homemaking? Like, why do you think that's patriarchal?
Yes, that's patriarchal.
Like, but even now, the same type of things get enforced.
Well, because parents enforce gender roles.
But do you think they're actively?
It's
I don't think
a
most
gender
people
role
thought about
thing.
that. I've never heard
No,
a
I mean, we don't think
conversation.
about it, but we've learned to enforce gender roles in our children. And I feel like how with children play is in the enforcing of gender roles. I don't have a problem with parents enforcing gender roles. I mean, that's the people who are gonna do it. That's the people who are gonna tell you who you are in this world first. But yeah, there's definitely patriarchal. There's gender roles. Women are gonna grow up to be caretakers of the home. So we practice early. That's why y'all don't be knowing how to do shit. And the women seem so competent because we've been ironing our baby doll clothes since we was 5.
Oh God.
I'm just saying, like, they be like, well, you just know. Women just seem to know how to care about it because we've been playing with fucking baby dolls and kitchen sets since we was 5.
Man.
You know?
I was watching that and I was like, I've seen that with my sisters, with cousins. I'm like, all the girls played a certain way. And they weren't allowed to, or like even pushed to play the way the boys played, like exploratory.
Yeah, we don't play rough.
Yeah, even if it ain't rough, there was a lot of like exploration and stuff, and with God, like boys and outside, and
I feel like if girls are just left to girls, like I don't know, like of course some of this personality dependent, but I have 3 girls. I just feel like they just don't play the same way. I kind of leave my kids alone to do whatever too, so. I feel like they just don't play the same. Like they just don't have that drive to kind of do some of the foolish stuff my nephews just find themselves needing to do. They're destructive. Like they just want to tear shit up and then fix it. Like that's what they do. They're like, oh, you have this dollhouse? Let me see how much force it takes to destroy it.
Wow. Yeah.
But my girls like play with it the way it's meant to be played. So like, I don't know. I think some of that is just kind of how it is.
What's up, Greg? Brian, hello. In case I didn't greet you. For you yourself, did you start out, did you play with dolls or Barbies when you were younger?
Yeah, let me see. I'm trying to remember. I kind of played all kind of things. I had brothers, but my mom had a home daycare, so I had like girls to play with. So when I played with other girls, we would usually play house or like, you know, with our dolls or Barbie dolls. I had this huge doll house. I played with Barbies until I was like 15, honestly.
Okay.
Like I had a lot of time to be a kid. Like I didn't have to work, like nothing. So my mom just let me be a kid. So I played with Barbies well until I was probably like 15. But then I also was a gamer. I played video games and like we played together as kids because my mom had a daycare. So sometimes we would even play like SWAT team. Like we would play SWAT situations out. Like one kid would be the terrorist, and then we would like do SWAT maneuvers to like.
Okay.
My oldest brother
taking
who's
corners.
in the military. Yeah, taking corners, throwing up, you know, we was like doing all that. So I played all kinds of things. Yeah, we played shooting, you know, so I played all kinds of stuff. But yeah, when I played with girls, it was definitely that stuff.
Now this part right here. See, we got somebody block Harris Tribe Media Group. That part, Bree, it's the need the boys think they had to destroy in order to make sense of things. They wrong. Now, sometimes you got to tear something apart to build it back together.
You don't have to, but if it's not yours, you can't just come tearing up my kid's dollhouse.
I mean, I agree, but man, sometimes, man, I don't know why it's so tempting. I think that's something innate. It is so tempting to see something come apart.
And I think it's like, an intelligence thing, but I'm just gonna leave that hot take there.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I think it's an intelligence thing, but I'm gonna just
engineering brain. That's absolutely right. Engineering brain, because we can figure out how to reverse engineer something.
Monkey brain. Give a monkey a little car. I bet it starts slamming it on the rock.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I'm gonna eat that one.
I'm just saying. I think it's an intelligence thing.
In your opinion, do you think Barbie was an important introduction to like of potential or the potential of girls and women? Do you think that's necessary?
I think it's the introduction to feminism. Like if I was a teacher and I had a women's studies course, I would definitely tell them to watch the Barbie movie to like imagine feminist theory played out with Barbies. Like that's what it is. So like first, second wave for sure, even though it's like got some of the introduction to the other waves there. So yeah, I think so. But if as far as my kids, it went over their head. Like only my teen daughter could start to understand the movie because she, you know, it's like, okay, I understand sexualization a little bit. I'm starting to feel. I think actually, she probably could identify with Barbie more than me. So, like, I think she could. Like, Barbie going into the real world almost like parallels a girl going through puberty. Like, you're left alone, you're completely asexual, like you're just having fun, and then all of a sudden you got boobs in the period, and now people are being weird towards you, and you don't know why. And you're just like still trying to treat them the same, but they're like being weird. So yeah, I feel like she identified with Barbie struggles more.
That actually makes sense. And see, that's what I wouldn't even thought about that. I wouldn't even thought about that. The transition into womanhood being Barbie coming into the real world. I kind of backed my way into that without catching that specific piece of it, because I thought about it as the three different parts of the movie. I would say there's three different phases in the movie, and I thought about it as three phases in development, but I actually didn't think about it with the women's lens. But I did want to shout out to Alonzo Hall, the R-Star advisor, and the master teacher, B9. Man, appreciate y'all both being in the building. To that end, I thought the first part, the Barbie world, the perfect, everything, every day is perfect and everything's play and it's asexual. I thought that's that childhood. Was the juvenile feminism. Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's childhood.
That's childhood. And I also, and I'm going to link this. I may not do a good job of this, but I also think that's what women say. When women are asked something and they're publicly answering and responding, they answer from this ideal, which is asexual and ideal and the way things are supposed to be, and all potentialities are possible for women. I think that's where a lot of that, the other day I said something about there are more scripts that women run in. I think this one is one that women don't get rid of. This one that men do. That men run into reality and they get rid of the childhood script, but women hold on to it, and that's their public persona. A lot of times they run with this script. The second one, let's walk through the steps, and then we can come back.
I sit on my soul. I'm just like,
I know it, because again, it nothing I say sounds right when I'm talking about women. But second one is the adolescent brain, where I would say where the sexual urges are realized, but there's no concept of responsibility, or they're steeped in romantic fantasy. So the perfect world, that's like, I'm gonna say that's where the teenagers were at the table. Like, oh, she's gonna eat you alive. Oh, she's gonna destroy you. That's where they've realized, like you said, they've walked into that world and they've inherited and understood all of that sexualization. And now they're like, I reject that first world Barbie. I reject that juvenile Barbie. It's stupid and blah, blah, blah. Because now you have all this new scripting. So you're going to pursue sexuality. And I say with feminism, this is where like sexual liberation, but also romanticism, like all that romance novels, Disneyfication is what some people have called it. Like Disneyfication, I'm pursuing love. That's the second wave. But that's what women think. Like if you actually, like you talked about, like I'm finding the true nature of women. There's a lot of sexualization or the pursuit of romance, if you actually get to what women actually think. Then the third layer is the adult fantasy, where you combine both of those together, of having a perfect family. Like I'm going to get married and I'm going to have children. Everything's going to be perfect and I can still have my career. Now, even though, like, this is where a man would have shed some of the prior stuff. I've had enough reality to show me that this stuff really isn't possible. I can't do all of this stuff. I'm going to have to sacrifice something. But even though enough reality has happened for most women, they still try to hold all three of these. I still try to say that I'm this public, because even Sasha said it to her mom. She said something, the stuff you draw is weird, dark, and crazy. Everything you pretend not to be. So everything she pretends not to be was that first word. I'm bubbly, I'm pink, everything's pretty, everything's perfect, everything's fine. Everything's fine. That's the first one, but she's trying to be that. Then there's a second one where you're still trying to have a family. My child hates me, my daughter hates me, because she still wants to have a perfect family. Or, I mean, she still wants romance and sexuality, but the third one is the perfect family. And trying to hold all
you
those
can have
together,
it all.
Yeah, trying to hold all three of those, which are pointing in three different lanes, is impossible. You can't have sexual
Yeah, but that's like
liberation.
one of the message of feminism was you can have it all. Women can have it all. So yeah, women definitely run that program. Like you can have it all. You can have it all. That's kind of what the Barbie. She can be everything. She can have it all.
Yeah.
So I agree. We do.
Yeah.
They do.
All I wanted growing up was to be in ministry. That's it.
You do eventually get to the point where you realize, well, maybe not. Because women be like, they hit 40 and they be like, now I have to go out and get the other stuff I haven't gotten yet with this old iteration of my life. So yeah, a lot of women have that midlife crisis moment, and it's still that. If you don't let go of that, I think you should. But I was gonna say some people I think eventually they let. No, I see women kind of turn a corner when they hit 40. It's like, okay, now it's time to be a new version of myself.
Yep.
In order to get the things I haven't been able to get yet. So I guess I agree.
Now, what about the whole aesthetic, the 1950ification of it? Like, what is it? What if you were to look at this? Like, okay, if I would have done this myself, what would the Barbie movie look like for you? What kind of aesthetics? Like, what kind of imagery would you have tried to sell? Because the 1950 aesthetics with modern feminism doesn't make sense.
It kind of makes sense. Well, it makes sense because I feel like this movie was really, it has some continuity problems, but it's going from the lens of the original Barbie when she showed up, and in the Barbie world, it's like the start of feminism, which that's kind of the time it started around, so it's like for me, it actually makes sense that the aesthetic would be back when that stereotypical Barbie was made and when the women suffered. It makes sense to me. Like for some reason it makes sense. But I said this is a very white movie for me. And every time I think of whiteness in media, that is the time period. Like if I just drove through a neighborhood in 2023 and I saw that aesthetic, I would be scared for my life. Right. So anytime I see that aesthetic, it's just very whiteness for me. So that told me that this movie is a white feminist lens. Immediately, which is fine for me. I just know there's not gonna be a lot addressing intersectionality when you're watching this, but it kind of made sense to me that was the aesthetic because it's whiteness and then make America great again. That same they love it time period. That's they bag.
You're right, but they went through great pains to do what you said, the diversification. They went through great pains to do that, but that's like modern. That's very modern.
Yeah, that's why I said there's continuity issues because you even had to put all the black folks in there. It's just checking the box of we're woke. I don't think Greta was really trying to tell the story of modern feminism. I don't think she was. But you realize you have to put those other Barbies in there because you can't make an all white movie in 2023. So some of that I feel like was just like you gotta. Oh, we have to diversify the people, and how are we going to get black people to come see this movie? So I think some of that was just the machine, but I don't think Greta really wanted to tell the story of modern feminism.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And was this a movie or a case study? I say it might have been a little bit of both.
Yeah,
a little bit of both. Like you can watch it as a movie and be just fine, but it's going to be hard to not see the gender dynamics, especially if you spend time. Yeah, if you spend time in this space, like this part of YouTube where we talk about relationships so much, it will be hard to not see the gender dynamics. Every movie is a case study. Shout out to Harris Tribe Media Group who did I can't remember what the name of it, but they break down movies. That was the other day, but Sunday had a bunch of stuff going down. Barbie is career driven.
Not this Barbie. This Barbie don't work. It was some other Barbies who was working. The Black Barbie was working.
Black Barbie was working. Matter of fact, stereotypical Barbie was the only one without a job, wasn't she?
There wasn't a stereotypical stereotype. Yeah. Once again, this is white women's worldview, people. This is not like Barbie is not me. I am not Barbie.
All the other Barbies were so accomplished. That was so interesting. All the other Barbies were so accomplished. One of them had won like a Nobel Prize or something.
And that was part of the thing where she was saying, like, I don't do anything. That was the whole point. She was like, I don't do anything. I'm just pretty. Like, I'm just stereotypical Barbie. I'm a stereotypical white woman.
Does life imitate art or vice versa? Both. So when you get into
Black women gonna be
hyper-realism,
working too. I'm sick of it.
Yeah.
Black women always gonna be working.
Yep.
She was the president, wasn't she? President Barbie?
She was president. Yeah. And the other one had won the Nobel Peace Prize. Alexander
I'm
Shipp.
good.
I think she won the
where
Nobel
the
Peace
Barbie
Prize.
who don't work? Where's the Barbie who don't work?
One. No parents, but Barbie held everybody down. Barbie has no children. She has younger siblings. But that's what I meant about the time. Like I know you said continuity problems, but they made so many. I guess they were more like Easter eggs. They pointed out so many like historical versions of Barbie, like, oh, this was discontinued, or they decided against that. So like that showed like they had thought about progress in Barbie, but then in they still go with the 1950 aesthetic of Barbie, because Barbie, they showed Barbies that had progressed through time. Oh, Barbie with this career, Barbie with the single mom, Barbie. They went through all these Barbie iterations, but then put her back in 1950.
Then they started at the first one. So that
makes sense.
You know,
with the first one, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, they started with the first one, but that's why I said it was stupid that she went to the gynecologist at the end. She should have got a job. That would have just been so on point for what the feminist story they were trying to tell. I just don't get it.
Especially if her thing was she still didn't feel like enough. Like if she didn't feel good enough, being competent in something would have given her the confidence that she was more than just a pretty face. So
yeah, she didn't do anything. She had no job.
No, didn't do anything. All she did was organize the
parties.
She organized the parties, but didn't she organize and strategize that thing to overthrow the Kens? Wasn't that her idea?
I mean,
I can't remember.
No, I mean America Ferrera really spearheaded that.
Okay, I remember when
which is kind of what the white feminists did.
I mean,
that's what they did. That's what they do. So once again,
ain't too far.
Stereotypical Barbie is, like she don't do nothing, and she ain't trying to do nothing.
Dang. So if it's a case
I bet she got them immigrants paying her bills too. I bet.
Who are the subjects? What's the desired outcome? Answer this question, Brie, because if this is a case study, right. Who do you think this was designed for, and what do you think the outcome they were aiming for? And putting this out and the way it's made, what do you think the messaging is, and who's the intended audience?
I think after watching it, the intended audience is teenage girls, maybe like 12 and up, 12 to 16, I think, really. And moms, their moms. So like millennial women, moms and their daughters, their older daughters, probably, I would say, is who this movie was made for. And what's the outcome? What did we arrive to was the point? Because I was asking my kids in the car and they was like, I don't know what the point was. I don't really, that's the part that I struggle with. I look at it as simply a story of feminism played out by Barbies. That is what I think is the point of it. Like, do feminism with Barbies. Put some people in the room and let them play out feminism with Barbies. And like, have you ever seen kids play Barbie storylines? Like, it kind of just don't ever really end. You just got to get up and stop playing because it's time to go. And then you pick up again and start playing again. Barbie plays don't really have an end. So maybe it was on purpose. But I that's kind of what I think the purpose is. To teach feminism to a younger generation who is starting to understand sexualization. I think that's the point of the movie.
I think you're all right. I think so. Everything in this country, every capitalism commodifies everything in this country. So even though they said that lady made Barbie so that her daughters would be able to see like potentiality and femininity, you can do anything. That's still, that story is still going to be commodified, because instead of making it so that women could be anything, they sell degree programs, or they sell you the things that give you the idea or notion, like Barbies. They'll sell the kid the Barbie so that you can envision it, you can picture it, or they'll sell you the degree that you can pursue it. But in most of the fields that they talk about Barbie got into, like that astronaut Barbie, it's still extremely rare for a woman to be able to get into all these places that they envision Barbie doctors.
Yeah, the point of Barbie was consumerism first and foremost. Like Barbie as a toy, when it was introduced to push women to be consumerist. I mean, it was teaching women to be good consumers. So I don't think Barbie, even Mattel doesn't really say Barbie is a feminist toy. They actually reject it. They aren't really pro-feminist. So she, first and foremost, she was made to push consumerism, which is what the girl said in the movie, and that is true.
Yeah. And even the lady, I can't remember, I think it was, I want to say Ruth, she said Barbie doesn't have an end. Because if you have an end, then you have a place where you stop making profit. So you have to leave it open-ended. You can't close out the movie or have a message, because then you can't make up your own, and everything's not open for interpretation, and people can't want to, because you'll cut off your avenues. If you have a clear-cut message, everybody won't be able to relate to it. But if you leave an ambiguous message, everybody can read into it whatever they want.
They can project, onto it whatever they want.
$1 billion. Let me see. Could it be Kim was infertile? She accepted them anyway. Maybe.
They had no genitals, which is also weird that they still made Ken this sexually driven doll with no genitals. He and Barbie didn't have genitals. They said it in the movie. So I don't know how the kid is just like so sexually driven without genitals. And he had never been exposed to the real world. Yeah. Where did it come from?
The sisterhood, nuclear family. Yeah. There wasn't anything about a nuclear family. Even the mom and daughter, the assumption was that she's probably
they had a dad.
Did they?
She had a husband.
Did she?
He was at the house. Remember they left when she was like, "You think he'll notice we gone?" And she
was
like,
yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And he was over there learning Spanish.
Yep, he was doing his own.
He didn't notice they were gone.
Didn't notice they were gone. Gone off to a whole nother land. Don't notice your family.
Gone. And the dad is just like learning Spanish.
Oblivious.
So. Oblivious.
Teaching girls to go after their own dreams and goals without kids. Barbie Agenda 1. Teaching girls she don't need a high-level man. She can still rise to the top. Matter of fact, everything was hers. It's my car. It's my house. It's a Barbie dream house, not the Ken.
Yeah.
What up, Nova? Transformers has not kept Black women back psychologically in the same way Barbie has. Yeah, you know why?
Barbie? You think Barbie?
Now people,
I don't know.
People have deconstructed a couple of Transformer movies because there was some racial undertones in a couple of them.
Man, ain't nobody. I fucking hate Michael.
Barbie can take care of her siblings when the parents don't exist.
I like that his sexualization came from the nature of, but it's still, it still didn't make sense. According to the storyline they were supposedly telling, there's no reason Ken should have been sexually driven in Barbie land.
Except other than he was a man. And that's what men got to be.
Men only do things for sexual ends, I guess, is what the whole point is. Is that true, Rashawn? Is that true?
No, it's a high motivation for I would say a great deal of things men do is going to be towards some version of that, like being able to get to sex, being able to get to relationship, which is still sex, or being able to have children, which is still sex. Like that's honestly for most people a great deal of life. Almost anything else is going to be a hobby or career, which is just a hobby that somebody else makes money off of. So I don't have a problem.
True.
I don't have a problem. He says it's 100% true, but like he also cleans. He said no woman's going to out clean me, and he's probably cleaning for himself. He's probably not cleaning for sex. So I'm just saying, like, there are things that we do that are not sexually driven, but sex does have a high degree of influence on all of our lives, whether we like to admit it or not.
Do you think women are just as sexually driven as men and we just don't realize it because we get a pass for doing sexual things?
Absolutely. I think y'all's drive is focused in other areas. Because if I were to say, do women want to be mothers and are they driven to be mothers? Absolutely. Everybody would agree with that. Even if I were to say, do more women want to prefer to be mothers over being married? Most people would agree with that. Even people that would say, are women so desperate to be mothers that they'll deal with guys who they know will be terrible fathers? most people will be like, yeah, there's a large degree of that.
The
All
numbers
that
show
sexual,
that as well. Yeah.
all that's sexual. The path through the goals that you want to achieve are through sexuality.
Requires sex. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think women are just as sexual, but women aren't a threat. It's seen as a threat. So the things we do that are completely driven by sexuality is just completely glossed over because we can't.
That's true.
We're not a threat.
Yeah, y'all are perceived as not a threat, but man, I've seen some of y'all do some
foul stuff. We had that conversation about that. Yeah, there's definitely predatory women out here. So I don't know. Y'all be safe.
Look up Jane Elliott. Cleaning takes one more thing off the list that keeps her from doing the deed. Okay, so even if your cleaning's okay, well, listen, even your cleaning sexually driven, and I'm not even mad at that.
Yeah, that's nothing. Nope.
What? No, say it. Speak.
No, it's just an interesting state of existence to me. That's very interesting. I feel like I don't have room to exist in that way. I feel like I space to exist that way.
Why not? Like as women or you? Like as women or black women? Like which demographic?
Like I could not opt out of something that has to be done because sex wasn't attached to it.
Hold up. I cannot opt out of something. I cannot opt out of a chore because sex is attached to it.
It's not attached. Like I don't have space to be like, well, I'll clean for some booty. Or because like if I don't clean, I will grocery shop for some ass. Like I don't have space to even utter that.
Stop it. You need to call King right now. You say, baby, I will make you a 3-course meal for some booty. He will show up. He will eat the meal.
I'm not saying no. That's what I'm saying. Like I know what Greg is saying, and I know men do that. Like what he's saying, like that could be a motivating factor for the things you do. But like I do it in spite of my motivation. Because if I don't do it, it won't get done. Now that's for me specifically. That is the role I have. So that's why I say that's me. That's the role I play in my house, which is fine. I'm fine with that role. But that's why that's always a funny statement to me because in the role I play in my household, I don't have room to think of chores that way.
Got you. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I came at it from different. In the extra credit scenes, there was a moment where Ken snuck into a bathhouse full of other Kens and slipped his robe off to engage in a massive Ken orgy. So it was homosexuality.
I mean, that whole dance, that whole Ken war was a Ken orgy. That you didn't even have to make that up. That whole Ken war was an orgy. That was so homoerotic.
That was so funny because they started off mad, but then they ended up dancing together. It was so weird.
They just
to the point that they got lost. They got lost in dancing to the fact that they lost all of their political rights. Like it was so weird. We all exist on different levels.
It was kind of like they secretly want to sleep with each other. Like basically, there was the running joke. Like y'all just are basically in love with each other, but don't realize it.
Here's the thing, though. Like I'm gonna say where that marries real life, and this when we make fun of red pill guys, that was that. So like the red pill guys versus some other group of guys online. We see them and they'll argue, but what they've realized is they're seen by other men and other men will give them attention and the validation, which is what the Kens were after the entire time. So you do end up in that weird place where like I played that clip a long time ago with Omari Hardwick. He's like, I want to inject myself in the lives of men and I just want to love on men. And we was all like, huh? Like that's but you're probably because of the way it's set up and that dichotomy where women are allowed to pursue the things that sexuality gets while rejecting the man that the sexuality gets them the things from. We don't get any validation for our relationship with women. Like there's actually it gets negated. Like nobody wants you anyway, or you just I wanted to keep whatever in some kind of way, explicit or implicit. We get negated in that transaction. But with men, we get to openly be like, I appreciate this dude. He's in my life, a mentor, a brother, brotherhood. There's some kind of way where men get validated by other men. And emotionally, that's compelling. We see it with the red pill dudes and the manosphere. it's obviously a thing. There's obviously a deficit where the Kens have to band together to get anything done because nobody else cares. Like nobody else is coming to save us. What Bree said, nobody's coming to save us because we're perceived to be the villain. We're perceived to be patriarchy. We're perceived to be all these things. Nobody's going to have any empathy for us. Even the very women that will use us to get through for sexual ends, we're looked at as a villain.
All they wanted was somebody to take interest in them.
Yeah, just see me. Just see me. We all exist on different levels. Someone who is sexually experienced is less likely to obsess over something they've already had. That's true too. Women have a floor of when they will have sex. Men will screw you outside in the dirt. I'll give it up for a cup of Ovaltine. A cup of Ovaltine. Woo!
I mean, I think there's things that, sorry, nope. I was gonna say, I was trying to connect to that feeling, and I'm like, no. When I think about things, but no, you have to go through sex to get them. So I guess that still is. We just don't. We're just so used to not thinking of the things we do as motivated by it. But I'm like, yeah, no, that's still, you still go through. It requires another partner to do it. Therefore, it is sexually driven. So I guess I can relate in that way.
Yeah. Women, especially wives, are master manipulators. Replace chores with responsibilities. Paying the mortgage isn't a chore. Yeah. So there's a lot to
I think a chore is a responsibility. Ain't they the same?
Yeah, but I think he's just talking about the way it's looked at, the way it's perceived. Because the things I would say the things that men are taught that they have to do in a relationship are taught as non-negotiable. Like this has to be done. Like you have to pay the bills. Like if somebody on the
street, yeah. I mean, I think it's just the way the responsibility is, like a quantifiable responsibility. Like no bill, no house. So everybody can see you on the street.
Right. But then think back to that TikTok video I showed where the woman's regulation or dysregulation had the house in such a chaotic state where you're almost on the street anyway. Like, because there's nowhere to sit, there's nowhere to sleep, there's nothing you can eat.
She's failing. She's failing. Right. It's just nobody, the whole world doesn't get to witness her well because it's on TikTok, yes. But on a daily basis, men just suffer. Y'all generally just suffer in silence. And nobody else will know because she's going to make sure when they leave the house, y'all look put together. But for the men, it's like the things y'all are often responsible for. Everybody see y'all on the street.
Everybody sees us fail. And y'all get to hide behind the veil of incompetence. And nobody says anything because even the veil of incompetence makes it our fault because we hung that curtain because of patriarchy. It's not a one-time trade. Keep giving it up and you can get a dude to do pretty much anything you want.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I was saying. Like it's still on the other side of that. But we just don't look at, I mean, it's a lot like the Barbie movie. Things women do aren't seen as sexually driven.
No.
Women are highly sexual, but it's just like for some reason, it's just like even in feminist theory, it seems it's so weird because it's like pro-sexual liberation. But even in the discussion of sexual liberation, it's like women don't. I don't know. Like it's like either super hypersexual behavior is like acknowledged, but then like nothing else is. So it's like either hypersexual or it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Because that's what I was trying to say. Like those first two waves, it either goes, it doesn't exist, is that juvenile script that stays. I would say that stays in most women, or a good number of women. I want to say male. A good number of women stay with both that first script of sexualization doesn't exist, where women pretend there's no sexuality, and they'll end up struggling. They end up struggling with identity and sexuality later on because they have that mind where they're supposed to project like purity. And I'm not interested in sex, and I'm not invested. But then there's that second mind that really wants sex and romance or romance, one or the other or both. And that goes in direct conflict with the first one, but they're both present. So you end up somebody like Yella's spirit wife, where she has all those things about purity and rejecting lust and all that stuff. So she's trying to navigate the thoughts she has on the second level with the script she has from the first level. But then she wants, but then on the whole time she's talking about God telling her that she's going to attain the third level. So how are you going to get this perfect family and all this stuff without the sexuality on the second level and the romance on the second level?
That gave me a headache.
See what I'm saying? Like there's levels to this. Like there's levels of thought, and people are operating in too many different levels at the same time without knowing where the different things come from. You can't get to a family without going through sexuality. There's no way to get down to that level without digging through sexuality or romance or both.
You don't, I mean, you don't indulge in sex for sure. But so many people are detached from that. Even they just detach themselves from it. It's just something you do, and that's it. They don't ever own their sexuality truly, which is what I think a true sexual liberation is like. You own it. You actually own it, not be hypersexual. Which to me, hypersexuality is always a red flag that something going on. But so most women will indulge in that just to get what they want, which is a kid or a family or whatever. But you may not ever really own it though.
And see, this quantum is the fantasy on the third level, that I can have the family any kind of way. I can get to the family without any reality attached to it, because getting pregnant through the doctor is highly expensive. And the brat was just having this issue. Well, when they actually got tested and found out their genetic makeup and all that stuff, there were no black donors except for one. And she said they look like Jiminy Cricket. So the reality versus the fantasy is the problem. All three layers is a reality. On all three layers, the purity and the projection of yourself and socially, there's a reality under the fantasy. And the same thing with sexuality and romance. Y'all can live in the fantasy, but there's a reality underneath that. And as far as having a family and career, there's a reality under. Quantum, she still got pregnant, but she's rich. Like, she's rich. All of y'all ain't got the brat money.
She does say she rich, and she does have a partner too, so she's not a single mom. Yeah. She's not gonna be a single mom.
Yeah.
She's gonna have a partner there.
That's what I mean. We try to deny the reality. She still got but everybody's not her. All the women who desire to have a family without the lust part of it, she's got a partner. How'd she get pregnant without the lust part of it? You mean without sex? I don't know what you're trying to say, Quantum, but it's not working. She still has sexuality and romance because she has a sexual partner.
Yeah, she's still a sexual being.
And she still requires the material of a man, even going through a doctor. So sexuality is still present on both ends. That she's practicing sexuality, yes, and romance, yes. And then she also had to practice and get the material from a man. There's a way that, and that's what I mean, like this, and this is no shame to Quantum. This is what I mean by the fantasy. Yeah, you can just go to a doctor. I can just
how's there pregnant Barbie
to get sperm? Yeah, I can just go to a doctor to get sperm. Did the doctor make the sperm, or was there a man involved somewhere? So you want to detach? Right. Yeah, there's no way to detach sex from that, because a man had to ejaculate to get that sperm. It came from a guy.
Oh, that's kind of like we were having that conversation. Yeah, you can't detach that from sexuality.
Yeah, but that's what happened.
Still had to go through. Yeah.
That's it right there. Like, we don't need no man. We got to go to a doctor. Then you got Ebony K. Williams talking about there's a lack of black male donors. Why does that matter if you can go where you can go and get what you need? Why do you need black male donors? You still have to go through sexuality. There's a reality under this fantasy of I can have it all. I don't even need a man. I can have my kids.
Had to jerk off somewhere.
Exactly. So the reality under it, when we really get down to it, if men withdrew, if men made certain decisions, wasn't Bree saying women were smart? A woman can get knocked up and get the dude to pay her for it, paying for her sperm. Shaking my head. You talked about the three levels of thinking of something. And so without the lust included, I'm saying these chicks can go see the doctor. I know what you're saying, Quantum. And I'm saying that
maybe that woman is in a sexual mind when she goes, but sex is
that part, but there's sex in the book.
Yeah, it's the sex. He wanted to ask. He said, "Why being horny is a red flag?" I didn't say that. So
who said it?
Great.
I want to know why being horny is red.
I said hypersexualization.
Hypersexual.
I didn't say horny. Yeah, horny isn't hypersexual.
Yeah,
I think horny is normal.
Yeah. Horny is a desire. Hypersexual is the expression. And I would say even that was a thing in the movie, because what's the point of the projection? What's the point of the expression of sexuality if you're not interested in sex? What would be the point?
You're capitalizing off of it.
Yeah.
That would be the only other reason, right? To capitalize, to use the energy of people desiring you so that they will be more inclined to give you things like the Barbies did. So it's either you're actually indulging in the sex or you're using it as a power play, basically, to get power.
So Greg is being pedantic.
Horny all the time. I mean, horny all the, I don't know what horny all the time would be, but no, hypersexuality, I don't connect horniness. I mean, if you're a sex addict or you're maybe they're hypersexual, yeah, hypersexuality it's okay. So if someone's horny all the time and they can't control it and they don't have any situation in which their sex drive is subdued enough to focus on something else, then they probably have hypersexuality. But that's usually not a normal. That's not a well-adjusted. That's a maladaptive way to be. And usually, you see some people who are victims of abuse or assault, they may be hypersexual. So yeah, hypersexuality I think is understood to be.
I'm not being pedantic.
What are you saying? I didn't say what was hypersexual. I just said if somebody's hypersexual, then that's usually some sign of something going on there. Like, maybe there are a victim of abuse or assault, those people. And then there's people who they lean into hypersexuality to feel empowered because we were just saying, you can, if you're not actually trying to take in the sex, you can use hypersexuality to get power and to influence people to give you things. So a lot of women lean into that or go through that phase where they really tap in. I'm gonna be hypersexual because that's power. So usually if hypersexuality is present, there's some power play going there, or they could have been abused or something. So yeah, I would say that all of that is, for me, that's a red flag as far as how I deal with people who I want to move forward with. That's probably a red flag for me.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the hypersexuality is an expression, which does not mean that you actually are horny. Like, so there are a lot of times that women are dancing very, like if you go to a strip club, there's a bunch of women being hypersexual. Not everybody jumps off the pole and jumps on some man or woman.
Hypersexuality doesn't mean you want to actually have sex.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's different from horny for me. Like, I feel like somebody say they horny, they want to have sex. You could be very hypersexual and not want to.
Yeah, absolutely not want to. So yeah. So I mean, that's my thing with that. But I know it's weird. Why would? Because I'm trying to think. One of the controversies around Barbie, I guess back in the day, was I guess the body shape. Body, I don't want to call it dysmorphia, but giving women unrealistic expectations as far as beauty, shape, all that good stuff. Very sexual shape, over exaggerated bust and hips. But, and even in the movie, people with skirts, this, that, and the other, high heels. But we talked about this a little bit the other day. There's this thing where we, like you said, we've divorced the expression. We've divorced the expression of sexuality from the outcomes of sexuality. Like, where men are not supposed to respond to it, men are not supposed to look for it, remark upon it. Like, it is like we're not supposed to say anything.
Not remark upon it.
Just
leave her alone.
Oh my God! But with all that, I wanted to ask, like the Kardashian look, the stripper, this new stripper thing, the IG baddie. All this stuff. Are these the new models of femininity that our girls are being, instead of Barbie? Because I haven't heard about black girls playing Barbies, but I've heard a lot.
Barbie as a black.
But I've heard a lot of black girls like wanting to be Barbs. I've heard a lot of that. Yeah. So like, is that the black woman's Barbie?
It's been that way for a while. Yeah, it's never been Barbie because most Barbies were white. And you got that one skipper. Who was the black one? whatever her name was, and she still just looked brown, white. She looked like the white Barbie, but she just brown.
Same features as brown.
So yeah, it's just never been Barbie for me. I think it's always been media. It's always been the women in media who shape what a lot of young girls feel like they're supposed to look like. So yeah, right now it's the BBL kind of look. So yeah, but it's been that way for a while. Video girls, anybody who is, who is put in front of us, yeah, for sure. I don't think it's been Barbie as much as they pretend it has been.
For real. The women who are outwardly over-sexual are almost always never actually sexual. The quiet ones will make you think your life is in danger. See what I'm talking about? See Greg, though. Let me see. I'm just trying to think. I made so many notes, and I don't want to sit here and be scrolling through them. What else stood out to you from the movie or as far as gender dynamics?
I think actually I did say I think Ken's storyline made the movie enjoyable for me. If Ken's storyline wasn't in there, I'm like, what would this movie be? Because like, even though she was stereotypical Barbie, and that was like a lot of like what the movie was about, but I wouldn't have been interested in her story if not for the Ken story.
Man, okay. Forgive me, y'all. This might be a little bit of a hot take. Attractive women, like Barbie is like the attractive woman, like that's the thing. Y'all, that was about to come out the wrong way. There is no social pressure. There is no social expectation of attractive women being interesting, like at all. Like, so the Ken arc was interesting. The Barbie arc was like, it was terrible. The most interesting Barbie at all was the one who was an outcast. Weird Barbie was interesting. Weird Barbie could hold your attention. The rest of the Barbies were doing absolutely nothing, talking about nothing, had nothing. They didn't have anything interesting. And I think there was like a joke at the end that Issa Rae made. That was the first time a Barbie actually said something that was like clever or witty or funny. I was like, oh my God, it reminds me so much of like, there's so many times you'll converse with somebody who's like seen as like really attractive, and it'd be like, there's nothing there.
And Ken seemed to be the only one who had a personality from the get-go.
Ken, yeah.
Or even like a uniqueness about him, even before everything. He just was like, yeah, he just seemed to really have a drive or motive. Everybody else was, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie. I mean, literally the dialogue was so... I mean, and I guess it's just like these are kids playing with these toys, so it's not going to be really deep conversation, because it's the idea that they're being played with actively. So maybe that's why. But
that could make some sense. I can live with that. I can live with that.
But who playing with Ken? I was like,
they were so dull.
Playing with Ken?
I mean,
that's the question I got. If all of their desires and thoughts come from the person who's playing with them, who's playing with Ken?
Because typically the same people that have Barbie have the Ken, so then you would have to wonder, like in the mind of the writer, right? I've written a Ken to pair with this Barbie where she's not interested in him, but he's interested in her. What little girl is working that? And that wasn't even that little girl; it was the mom.
It was the mom. I mean, I guess if you just get theoretical, it's like. It could represent the compartmentalization of sex, because that is, I think, how women it's kind of the only way that it would make sense if women are so disconnected from sexuality unless in the presence of men that's how Ken exists. If we just like took the lore of the movie to be true in continuity, like. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if it was the same person playing, then the man is the vessel of the expressed sexuality, because only men have room to like really just be so driven by sex all the time, outwardly, overtly. And that's just not how we're supposed to be. So, the girl can use this Ken to be, to express assertive sexuality more so. That's the only way it would kind of make sense. But this is a grown woman, so also
it just kind of made me think
as a grown woman with a kid. If she was really playing with the Barbie, How is Barbie asexual? Because this woman's grown with a kid. So still don't make sense.
No, it kind of does. Because she's married. She's married to the guy that won't notice that she's gone. She's married to a guy that she can go on a trip across realms, dimensions, and he won't notice that her and the daughter are gone. Her life is asexual because she's depressed, got the cellulite, and has the ruminating thoughts of death. Well, I can't remember how they phrased it, but she has she's turned into an asexual being.
3 women are asexual with this man constantly just in her face trying to get some. And she don't, which is
probably why he's trying to learn another language, so that he's trying to effort and probably speak her native, because she was a Latina. She was a Latina. So he's probably up there trying to learn Spanish so he could be muy caliente to his wife, who's asexual now, thinking he's going to go through all this effort and impress her. Yeah. And she don't even want to play with Ken.
The Ken is like her husband.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad.
Yeah, but I love it. I play with all my dogs equally. And Barbie, Ken, the siblings, Barbie's unnamed friends, and teen sibling. Did you have an Alan? Because Alan was hilarious. Ken always left the house to work, though. Let me see. Well, she would stop playing with the Barbie and play with him. She probably won't feel asexual. That's hilarious. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it works that way. Yeah, no.
Oh, he said stop playing. She don't want to play with him. That's the whole point. This is like that disconnect Rashawn's talking about. We have to go through y'all to get the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of women just pairing off for the sake of having kids in the right conditions. If she even believe it. Oh, well, I gotta have a dad around. If they even believe it. Some people don't believe it, but do believe that a lot of women are willing to go through y'all just to get what they want and bounce.
Yeah,
unless she feel like she need to have a dad around. If some women do still feel that way, but I mean, you liable to get one of them who like, we out of here.
Yeah,
so,
especially if you make maybe a not well thought out Twitter post. One of those will get you removed.
No, yeah, most of the women now, it's like you don't have to be around. They can raise a kid by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you liable to get left once the deed done. I mean, some women out here really acting like they asexual for real.
Like,
they'll do it.
Asexual.
Like the Barbies knew how to be alluring and play into it when they needed some.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can tap in when you ready, and they tap right on back out. Yeah.
Tapped into that sexuality when they wanted to get something. That is so crazy.
Yeah.
They went damsel. They weaponized incompetence. How do I click the mouse?
Oh my gosh.
It was so stupid.
The Photoshop part was hilarious.
It was so stupid, man. It was so goofy.
I died laughing. The Scarface. Can you play it from the beginning and just talk through the whole movie? I just love it. I love Scarface.
It was interesting. It was like some of the themes that they played upon. But is she subconsciously protecting her daughter by making her asexual? Not getting her baby. Should she be protecting her daughter by making her asexual?
I think people I think people project asexuality on their kids most of the time. I think most parents just choose to believe their kids are asexual until they're smacked in the face with sexuality. And then how the parents going to respond is going to depend on the parent.
Yeah, because in the movie, she wasn't actually using Barbie to inhabit anything that she felt for her daughter. It was like feelings of death, cellulite, and I just forgot the third one just that quick. And that was all on her. But I can't remember what the other one was. But I don't think there wasn't much actual thoughts about the relationship. It was just kind of weird too. There wasn't a whole bunch of thought other than like my daughter hates me. Like there wasn't actually a relationship building moment.
They kind of just like through the adventure got closer, I guess.
Yep.
Because they have forced to spend time together, but we don't know why her daughter hated her. But I guess she said because she fake, like she tried to be everything she not. I guess so. I guess as she became her authentic self, her daughter connected to her more, maybe.
Yeah, that's a valid way to see that. I think that's kind of what happened because she got tired of her being fake, and that's what she was doing. But that goes back to something else we've talked about. Like everybody knows when men are failing. But when women are failing, nobody can admit it. Like she was failing. Their marriage is failing. The career is kind of stagnating, and your daughter doesn't like you. But instead of being able to have a conversation with any of the parties involved, it's like it's kind of unspoken. Because even in the movie, they didn't really say she was failing. They just kind of walked around it. The husband won't notice either of us is gone. The career, like I'm drawing Death Barbie, thoughts of Death Barbie. Like obviously there's something going on there. And my daughter
Are you saying
hates
America,
me.
she's a failure?
Yeah. But unfortunately, you have the degree and you have the job, you have the car, you have the house, you have a kid. You have on paper everything that you wanted. But the feelings behind it, what did you say earlier about being happy? You're happy when you think you're happy. If you have all the things that you say you wanted and you're still not happy, you failed. Because what you're choosing, like we played that clip, what you wanted was happiness. What you wanted was love. What you wanted was acceptance. You didn't care about a championship. You didn't want a championship. I just wanted love and somebody to believe in me. You don't have any of that. You don't even believe in yourself because you're being fake and phony all the time. And even your daughter sees it and rejects it. That's failure. But you can quantify all these things. You've checked off all these things and everybody, oh, you've got a house, car, a husband, kid. I feel great about myself. But inside, when you go home, you know, because it's thoughts of death Barbie, thoughts of cellulite Barbie. She knows she's failing. My daughter hates me.
We don't know what a failing woman looks like.
I don't think we're allowed to talk about it. Especially
do you think we know what it looks like, even though we can't talk about it? Do you think most people know what a failing woman looks like?
I think most men know. Because y'all gonna live in those fantasies.
Y'all, but y'all don't say nothing because y'all don't want to. Y'all don't want to lose access. I know. Yeah, I know. I was gonna say that y'all don't. Y'all just want sex, so y'all ain't gonna say nothing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Y'all know. Yep. Then what's the point of knowing if nothing happens? Y'all just tolerate it.
Let me tell you. Yeah, we tolerate a lot. For access to sex, we tolerate a lot. But I'm gonna tell you, Mr. He Said, Mr. She Said, they played a clip. I can't remember which y'all was watching. It might have been Mr. He Said, Cerebral Saturday. They played a clip. This dude didn't even know his daughter's birthday. That it just happened the day before. Dads, do better. Don't be in there learning another language and you don't even know your kid's birthday and you just celebrated it yesterday. Anyway, they quick to say what their kids not doing.
Dads be doing it though.
Dads be checking out.
Don't be knowing stuff. Just leave
even the so-called better parents. Yeah, so there's problems there's very fine people on both sides. But now I really think men know when women are failing. I think we definitely know, but we can't say anything because again, criticism. Oh my God, who was it? Me and Yella? Women. I'm making a lot of generalizations here, so you guys are going to have to forgive me or not. I really don't even care at this point, especially Black women. Don't even listen to God. We played so many people who don't even listen to what they say God is saying. God said this for my life. I had to get proof. He had to tell me 5 different ways. I'm like, this is who you're saying your God is. You're not listening to him. If you're not listening to your God, you're not going to listen to me. If I tell you you're wrong.
I mean, I was like, if you have factual data to back up why you said I'm wrong.
Nope, doesn't work.
We're not gonna listen to that either.
Y'all don't. You know, Black women do not even listen to other Black women. They don't listen to Black men.
That's true. I mean, that's kind of true. I'm agree with that because the ways I done been cussed out.
Yeah,
for factual data.
Ken, I was talking about like in the nursing, like you could tell, and to be fair, it's not just Black women, it's people. Humans right now have a really hard time receiving negative information and feedback. So to be fair, it's people. But amongst demographics of people, there are people who are more or less susceptible to listening to quality information or low quality information. And right now, there's a demographic who is the most likely to take in bad info and not listen to useful criticism. And y'all know who that is. And I ain't going to say it again. I think the idea women can be happy is a risky proposition. Y'all really too fragile to be told.
Too fragile to be told. Because nobody tell us we failing.
That's what I was going to ask you though, because the premise of the movie is Barbie Land. The premise of the movie is this fictitious place where we can hide away from the reality of the world. And the moment the reality creeped in, everybody froze. The moment Barbie had a thought that was not in line with the positivity, with the manifestation, with the daily, with the joy, tasting joy, everybody freezes. And she has to fall back in line. There's social pressure to maintain the image, maintain the facade. I wrote this question down somewhere, but that was funny. Do you think, it was funny, but I've seen this in reality. I've seen like toxic optimism play out with women where you have to maintain hope. I have to believe there's a chance. Like, as long as I find one, there's a thing where it seems like with women, there's a greater drive to have a positive feeling to persist. Like, what do you think that could be? Because I see that more like men can, okay, I'm going to be doing this for the next 20 years. I'm never going to enjoy it. Oh, well, I may as well just make the best of it. Yeah. But a woman will never.
No, I mean, it was something that it made me think of something I saw that like Black women had the lowest like self-deletion rates. Now that's starting, as we go farther, that's starting to change. But across time, historically, I think it was something I can't remember what I was listening to, but they were just talking about that. Like how women just kind of are less susceptible to some of the like denialistic thoughts or the like giving up and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely think there's something in this. But I think if it's just so like something that is across the board, then there's probably some evolutionary biology reason for it, probably related to like carrying babies and raising kids and like them kind of needing you to be there to survive themselves. So I think there's some kind of resilience there, or some kind of mental, or even just having more kids over and over again, it's very painful and terrible. Like it's there, I think it's just something built into us that we choose to see the other side, because if we gave in to despair or pain, we would go extinct. So I think some of it is a biological reason why that's there, but I definitely think it's true. But I think that it serves some biological reason more than likely.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I thought it was an adaptation for a long time. I remember we were talking about, now Greg Bryan does not believe in this. I know. Evolutionary psychology. Because I thought, like, if I was if I were a woman, and let's say I was all women through time, if I were kind of like subjugated or second class for like ages upon ages upon ages of time, I think I would have to adapt my mind, like, to reframing, so that me being second class didn't feel second class, to not want to give up, like to not just give up on, like you said, not to yeet myself all the time, to not want to yeet my kids, like not throw me off the ship with my ancestors, to not want to have that feeling. I'd have to reframe it to make it feel like a positive, whatever I was going through. And over time, I can see evolutionary psychology playing a part in that. Like the acceptance of unfavorable conditions, the acceptance of the loss of agency. I can see women's minds adapting to.
And I've seen that in men, like a lot of Black men. I've seen the same thing. Y'all do the same. It's not like towards positivity, but it's just a reframing to feel. I don't even know what y'all be trying to feel, but to cope with being powerless for so long.
Yeah. So I definitely see that as a natural thing. For sure. I'm sure you can figure that out.
Y'all could use some positivity, but y'all just kind of cope. Yeah. Y'all just cope instead of like putting a positive spin on it. Y'all just cope. Y'all just
trying to thrive. We just want to survive.
Y'all just survive.
Y'all want to thrive.
I feel like that statement is y'all's version of that. Like, women, we're thriving. You're not thriving. But y'all are like, I'm just trying to survive. And it's like, well, that's not enough. So I think they're the same. They're the same thing, phenomenon, but it's just how men do versus the women.
Yeah. And that's okay. And that's beautiful, because the surviving versus thriving paradoxes, I think that's why a lot of us have that rejection of it, is because at the end of the day, we're all really just surviving. The thriving, we know when the doors are closed and everybody's by themselves, and when it's not on Instagram.
More. Yeah.
Thriving is having more.
Yeah, well, you want, but to seek to thrive, not just survive, but to thrive. It's like you that's the goal. Like you're trying to potential. You like want more. You want more.
Yeah, that's also called greed. Surviving. Like that's also called greed. Like thriving would be having what you want, what you need, and being content or happy.
Yeah.
But I think why men reject it is because we don't see the happiness part of it. Like the demonstration, everything that comes out shows the unhappiness. And we're being asked to accept that you all are happy, generally speaking. You all are happy, but we see all the manifestations of unhappiness and insecurity. And like we all know, like, oh, men are insecure, men are weak. Okay, we accept that. It's like when it comes to the other side, it's like, and even with the movie, it's like it could not be accepted that conditions could just be unfavorable and we just cope with the conditions. Like that was not even a reality. It had to be, no, everything's got to be picture perfect, and we'll go through any means necessary to make sure it's the way we want it to be, even though we know it's not real. We found out it wasn't real. It wasn't real.
It's our world. There's no positive spin on being a black man. Yeah. I mean, I think thriving can be accomplished. It don't take as much, but that's the consumerism culture. It's gonna never let you feel like you've content, because then you'll stop. Theoretically, you'll stop buying as much if you're content. You don't need anything else. So part of it is also.
So generalization. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, like just like women lean into toxic positivity, they're equal, but opposite would be men just surviving. No. But if you're not in that, if you're not in those extremes, then you could be anything. But for the people, just toxic optimism is a maladaptive behavior, just like only being in survival mode is a maladaptive behavior. They're both maladaptive. So if you're not in the maladaptive space, then you can go anywhere. You can thrive, you can, whatever. But if you're not, then I can't stand toxic optimism. I hate it. Oh, I hate it. Hate it. Oh, hate it so much. It's my pet. It's literally my pet peeve.
In the movie, the women gave a lot of empty validation to each other. Like, what is that for? Like, what does that serve? Like, because I don't relate to that. But there was a lot of claps and applause and screams and cheers for like the most mundane thing. Like even when the woman was like, I can have both logic and emotion, and I can hold both, and that makes me more expansive.
Oh, and everybody's like, that made me cringe. Or even in the boardroom, it's like, I don't know. I think that's something that's a newer phenomenon, that people want to be cheered on for everything they do. They want to be told good job. It's, parenting. It's like when, in conscious parenting, you're not really supposed to do that. Like respectful parenting, you don't say, oh, you did a good job cleaning your room. Like that's, you don't do that, for that reason. But I think we are in this space where people brought up thinking that's a normal thing, but it's not. It's not actually healthy. So I don't know. I don't really relate to that, but I try not to do that. If they like, did I do a good job? I'm like, well, do you feel like you did a good job? Is your room pleasing to you? Are you able to move around in it better? Is it aesthetically pleasing? If you can answer yes to these questions, then you should be able to conclude that you did a good job. But I think that goes back to what you're saying, like people not knowing they're actually feeling, because as long as you can find somebody to say you're not, then you're not. Because most of us weren't walked through how to figure out if you're actually have I done the task well, So I don't really relate to that need for constant verbal, but that's could be a love language thing. I'm not a words of affirmation girl, so I don't, that's always a weird thing to me.
I get you. And they talk about a red dress. And so speaking of red dress, the red dress, there was a red dress lady in the Matrix, and I thought there was a couple of Matrix parallels in the movies, because when Barbie went to Weird Barbie and she was given a choice, I can't remember, was it between a high heel and a Birkenstock, and it was like the blue and the red pill.
She was like, I don't want to wear the Birkenstock.
But like,
you gotta wear it.
Especially like it's a false choice. Like you didn't have a choice the entire time, and I thought that was funny that they actually added that in the movie. I was like, beautiful. I'm glad they said like, yes, it's a false choice.
And they wore red when they were seducing the kids. Like when they would be broken out of the program, and then they would go back as the mold, they would have on red.
Man, there was a lot of stuff in there. It was cute. But I wanted to. Yeah. What do you think about this part? Because I don't know if you paid attention to this part or not. Because I thought it was interesting. Because I know it's red pilled in my brain. It's red pilled in my brain. The quest to find herself. Find the little girl her it was found. The road to that was through a bunch of things and experiences. It's like to travel from Barbie land to find the girl.
To travel.
She had to go on a whole trip. There were boats and cars, and I was like, wow,
you had to
we're
go
back
to
to this travel.
I was like, wow, you got it. Well, no, I don't think it's travel. I think if you look at it from the archetypes, it's the exploration. Like to become a wise sage from an innocent, you have to go through the exploratory phase. So I feel like it's exploration.
Allegory. I can respect that.
Yes, allegory for exploration. Exploration is needed to become a wise sage.
I can respect that. Because I was like, ooh, man, because
guys
we be online talking about, man, girls guys gotta travel, girls trips, and
because y'all be in survival mode, locked down at the house. That's fine, that's great. But like other people, part of thriving is feeling like you can travel the world, travel the domain you're a part of. Y'all really be hating it on traveling just because you like to be at the house. That's fine. Stay home. I like to be at home now, but I used to travel a lot. Hop up and go.
And it's cool. Like, it's cool because everybody used to tell us like travel is an enriching experience. And I guess I think the things that we hear red pill guys, manospheres guys complain about, I think what most of it comes down to is that there's a dishonesty in it. Because we don't have a problem with travel. Because we wouldn't have passport bros in the same sector of people if we had a problem with travel. It's that the travel doesn't do what you say it does. I think that's what we end up rejecting.
What are they saying?
The travel is supposed to be enriching and exposure and you're
what are we considering traveling? Like Miami trips?
Whatever. All of it's supposed to be like towards that image of is fun and we're experiencing and life is good. Great.
Yeah.
But then when people deal with you, you don't have the attitude of life is good. The attitude is I'm suffering inwardly. I'm suffering. I'm depressed. I'm trying to avoid these negative feelings.
Because some people are doing it impulsively as like a pacifier. Like some people need stimuli.
Right.
Yeah. Stimuli to just kind of like it's an impulsive thing. So I mean, of course, you're gonna have those people that like, oh, I'm not happy here, so I'm just gonna keep busy. You have those people like, I'm gonna keep busy. I'm gonna be on the move because then I don't have to sit home and deal with the shit that I don't want to deal with, right? So like you have those people who are traveling, but then you also do actually have the people who are getting enriching experiences. And I guess the thing is you just gotta kind of be able to know the difference because they probably all think they're the same, but you can clearly see, who's
difference.
having an enriching, or somebody who's running from their own life. I think there is a difference, and they both will travel a lot, but I think it's just different.
The energy shows up different in the world. The same way I would say women know men who have a healthy relationship to women. Like the energy that you carry into the I wanted to show this one guy, not today. This one guy, he was making all these things talking about females deserve to get raped if they reject me because I'm a nice guy. And I'm like, how could you even figure? Well, in every they show like 10 videos. Every video he's calling them females. And then he's saying they deserve to be assaulted if they don't want to date him or if they reject him. I'm like, but he keeps calling himself a nice guy. But obviously most women would see through that. Some guys that feel the same way he do might empathize with him, like out of anger would be able to empathize with him and not really see the flaw in the thinking. So we can, across gender, can typically see when somebody's not living their truth. Like, you're not who you say you are. Because we're not biased by the empathy. So I see that problem there. I think there's a lot of that, which is why we can't get the truth to people. Like men can't hear the truth from women, and women can't hear the truth from men.
And then also if you're like you're gonna project that you instantly know what someone means because they say something that someone else did but meant it differently. I don't know. I also feel like sometimes there's a lot of that going on. But there's a lot of women who travel. I know what that means. Like you don't know who that means. What it means is gonna depend on who you're talking to.
Absolutely. No.
And I mean, everybody wants to believe that they're not the person, but I'm just saying, like at the same time, it seems to be no kind of there's no like actual discernment. It's just like I'm just gonna assume I kind of know what that means when you say
the worst possible. I'm gonna assume the worst possible.
Yeah, I'm just gonna assume the worst. So I think there's a lot of that, and it's like people who actually aren't like maladaptive or who are very secure. If you start talking like that, they're not really gonna hang around too long. So then it kind of will just, I think it makes your reality kind of true to what you're saying, because if someone's healthy and secure and they're like, bitch, that's not what I'm just gonna move on. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and deal, so then you also kind of get in this weird reality where you're just kind of echo chambering. You're getting things to prove yourself right, like confirmation bias all the time. Because I talk to plenty of people like that. And especially in person, like less so online, but in person for sure. Like people just project a bunch of stuff on me. And I'd be like, bitch, I have a good life. I'm gonna move on. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and argue with you about who the fuck I am. So I'm just gonna go ahead, have a nice day. So I'm sure when you meet, yeah, like I get so many projections, like so fast. Like it's just be like, I'm not even fit to sit here. If I feel that, I'm just gonna keep it moving.
Yeah.
So no, you didn't get to meet the person who probably could have proved you wrong.
What did you think about Barbie feeling like Ken would slow her down? Because I thought that mirrored a lot of what I've heard women say online, that the men not getting the education and not making the money are kind of holding women back. So what do you think about that part?
Try to see which answer I want to give to. There is a reality that when you there's a reality that when you settle down, it's going to be slow. It's going to be slow. It's in so many ways. There's like a loaded slow, but it's like we're already brought up like kind of being told early, like understand that the nature of y'all. Some of it's not true. Like some of it's just completely false. But it's like, but you got to think like I haven't had a chance to discover that that's not true.
Facts.
So like I'm going into that like already feeling like I just explained, like I already know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna get with him. He's gonna be broke. I'm gonna have to work, and then I'm gonna have a baby, and then I'm gonna have to be at home. Like it's just like all these things, that once the man is introduced to the picture, your life is gonna exponentially slow down because now you can't just go where you want to go when you want to go. And when the man comes, the kids come. It's just it'd be scary. You'd be like, do I really want to leave my freedom behind? It is like this thing of like, I don't feel like, it's freedom or commitment to a man. And
why'd that sound like that?
Because
freedom or commitment.
And
then it was like, and it came down like freedom or commitment. Commitment was fine. Then it was like to a man. It's like,
yeah, because like my husband said, all women are gay, so
just a little bit. There'd be a little bit of that in there, man. Y'all be
I don't believe that literally, but I'm just saying, like, to a man, you bitch. Some of y'all don't be making it seem like a great option.
I mean, that's because y'all have
real, especially if you get like, he's in surviving. He is real survival. You land one of these survival mode niggas. It's over. It's over.
Oh shoot! It's over. Like a tent and a hot plate type.
Look, if he's literally like that or mentally like that, it's over. Life gonna slow down a lot. It's gonna be real slow.
Yeah. Put some effort into something other than yourself.
It's like you dragging them behind you,
Man, that sucks.
Through life.
I believe it.
He don't want to commit, really. He don't really want to have kids, really. But he'll do it if that's what you want to do. But that's like a dragging kind of. I'm dragging you into responsibility. It's just, it's real slow.
Because I agree with that. I don't think most guys want the commitment.
Some guys do want
some
families and
some absolutely. Yeah. And some think they want families, like the whole Barbie thing. Some people think they want something until they get it and realize it's not what they want.
Yeah,
men and women
Ken was like, "Woo!" Yeah, he said, "Whipping our gay from the waist up." That's true, Greg. I agree with it. Yeah, it be feeling like slow. Y'all slow us down. You know, the old ball and chain. It's really y'all.
We're doing a lot of us are doing this stuff only because y'all want it. The marriage, the kids,
right.
a lot of us. It's simply because y'all want it. I'm wondering. I think that's something. I don't know. Something struck me. I didn't get the full. When it hit me, it didn't stay. It was like that, that proton off of Lizzo's butt. It was a proton off of Lizzo's butt. It just bounced off. But I had it for a hot second. I was like, there's something wrong
I guess
with
it's just
that.
how sad I was like describing it. I mean, but that's what we feel like we're gonna like walk into now. Luckily for me, that's not the reality I've had to experience, which is great. So because now I could just be in my feminine coma and just relax, and it's great because I don't have to drag this man through life, you know. But I mean, in reality, that's what you assume you gonna get. You know, you just assume that, and then niggas in their 20s ain't trying to do nothing, rightfully so. But like people people get into relationships way too early, and you know, he feel within his soul he ain't ready to commit to nothing. So it's confirmation bias to that. Like, well, if I want kids or if I want a family, I'm gonna have to drag them to the altar, and then you know. Have you seen the men smashing the wedding cakes until there's been a conversation about that lately? Then you marry one of them niggas.
I don't like it.
Life gonna be slow and hard and tired and survival, very survival mode, you know. Y'all gonna have the kids, but like y'all just gonna barely scrape by. He hates you for making him do it, so he really ain't gonna try to, you know, just feels like this constant back and forth of you forcing him to do stuff and him hating you for it and secretly wanting to drag you down as punishment. Because, you know, if we have to suffer, we got to do it together.
Suffer together.
So, you made me marry you. So, well, I'm, you know, gonna make you drag me through life, you know. It's the reality. Sorry.
I'm just wondering though, when you said that there's something wrong. I was thinking maybe the visualization. Because I think that's something that maybe, like you talked about thriving as the pursuit of the thing you want. Maybe some of us, a lot of us, maybe lack the visualization of that actually being a positive outcome. Like, because marriage, we don't have the imagery. We don't have the vision board in our head of marriage as wonderful. And we don't have the same thing with kids because we think about all the limitations and the costs. So it's like we don't have the image or the experience of children as wonderful. So of course we don't want to do it. But like y'all, like even with the Barbie, we're playing with Barbie dolls, it's been a source of play and comfort and joy for y'all for such a long part of y'all's lives that you're looking forward to it. Where us, there's nothing.
What do y'all look forward to besides puss and food?
We just shoot, golly, that's a
as the wee lad, like what couldn't you wait to grow up to do?
When I was young, the only thing I wanted to grow up to not have to listen to my mother. That was it. I wanted. Oh
my God, y'all really are kin. Like, oh my God, y'all are like Ryan Gosling.
And I wanted to pay bills for whatever reason. I thought paying bills sounded like a good idea. I don't know why.
That is a good idea. I can get behind that, especially somebody else like a woman's.
See, there you go.
I think that's a good idea. You was on the right track right there.
Nah, because bills are trash. Bills are
but
trash.
Everybody has to pay them.
Everybody has to pay them. I don't know. There's got to be a better way. This system sucks.
No, everybody pays them. I'm just saying you can't avoid bills. So you was on the right track there. But what do y'all look forward to? Kids are awesome. Yeah. Y'all don't look for. I know the answer. Nothing.
I mean, but there wasn't a lot to look for. Like nothing looked appealing. Nothing looked appealing. Kids are awesome. They are little people the world hasn't ruined yet.
So
and that's
before
true.
like puss just gets caught in your little peach fuzz mustache you're growing in, what do y'all?
I mean, if you don't have a sports
just play with your friends, kind of like y'all just
hang
live
out,
life, like
play video games,
this the life.
Do beach like Ken. Just do beach.
I do beach.
I'll do beach.
I do beach.
Yeah, man, just do beach.
That's why I was
man,
like, I'm convinced the Barbie movie is like kids. It's about the transition from childhood to adulthood. And that's like how men become. Like once y'all get a little, oh my God, Barbie, like that's y'all really be on that energy for a long time.
Yeah.
And then she'd be like, no, you have to find an identity that's not related to me, Ken. And he's like, you mean like, I don't know what he said, but she was like, no, that's still related to me. Like, go do something else that doesn't involve me or getting my approval. Like, just go be.
Now, I know I'm wrapping in a lot of my manosphere stuff with this movie because I mean it's loosely related. They didn't go into some of this stuff, but to that point, because I find this funny. That's like guys go be, but a lot of times if guys would go be, like I don't know, this is where I say like incompetence. Like if guys had the actualization that like the Barbies had, they would become like the Barbies, where we wouldn't care what the other group was doing, which would be us, patriarchy. Like, so the outcome of the things that men are being pushed.
He's like, we only need you to hold our children when we're ready for them to pass down our wealth and maintain our power. So come on, let her out the cage so she can have this baby. Yeah.
We've gone out and built stuff and shot guns and worked on houses and worked on cars, and all that stuff is so useful that then you guys want it. Because like right now, the complaint is that most guys can't do anything, me included. Can't do anything. We're useless, can't fix stuff, can't build stuff. Okay, cool. I can eat that and don't even really care. But if men got back into that and we're building amazing things and every guy, it would be like, it would flip.
Y'all definitely get on y'all alpha energy when y'all get into this stuff.
But then we wouldn't care. And then it would be patriarchy because we wouldn't be interested in what you guys have going on. It would just be
I can't worry about a lot of y'all doing it all at once because it's never going to happen. Facts. But at least for yourself, that's okay to be in that energy. Honestly, I feel like my husband be in that energy. It's fine. I get to be in a femininity coma.
Yeah.
But did you hear that in the movie? That pissed me off. That pissed me off. That was in the movie. When the Kens took over, there was that one Barbie. I think she was black. I don't think it was Issa Rae, but it was the other Barbie, the Nobel Peace Prize Barbie. She was like, I have to think about so much all the time. And now that the Kens are running everything, I don't have to think about anything but serving him this food. This is great.
Yep.
Why was her feminism not accepted as okay? She was like, I'm tired of thinking about him running this whole place. I just want to serve this man cookies. And I'm great here. I love it here. And that was not accepted at all. It was just not accepted as okay.
It's not because of feminism. Feminism doesn't accept men being... You can't do anything for the benefit of men with feminism. Like, that's rejected.
Yeah, that's the part where I was like, see, this is why feminism not for me.
Yeah. And Greg, what I was saying, that's not true. If guys did all this stuff, if guys did all this stuff and we were super useful men, the vagina would come because we're useful.
Yeah.
One of the problems is a lot of men aren't useful anymore. So like women are like, well, what's the use? I can make my own money and you can't do anything and you're not good to talk to. And your penis is wet. What's the point? So again, if we increased our utility in some domain, like the vagina would follow.
It would. It really would. I know it's hard to have faith that it would, but it would.
Yeah. I mean, history shows that utility.
History shows that. And it's true. I mean, people looking to, knock some of these tasks off. I don't have to do everything. You don't have to do everything. Let's, be useful together. So, learn to do stuff. So yes, but it's starting to storm over here, so I have to wrap up.
That's
But I
cool.
wanted to wrap up, so I was just go before it was rolling in. I hear it.
Yeah. Let's do that then real quick, because I definitely appreciate having this conversation. I actually enjoyed the movie the first pass. The second pass, not so much. Overall, like, how would you rate this movie?
I think I gave it a 8 when we saw it. I think I gave it an 8. Entertaining. It's not something I would buy and watch over and over again often. Wouldn't be like, oh, you should watch it. It's cute, but 8. I still say 8 because I laughed and cried.
What did you think about Margot Robbie's performance? Because she's been getting a lot of plaudits or whatever for her role. I didn't think she did anything groundbreaking, but how did you feel about her as Barbie?
Yeah, I don't think it was like groundbreaking. And I mean the press tour outfits was 10 out of 10. Okay, she was killing it. She's not necessarily who I would have thought about as Barbie, like aesthetically, but I think she was great. She did a good job. The comedic timing was good, and she just did a really, really good job. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like I feel like Ryan Gosling put his whole foot in that performance. I just loved it. Like he really he seemed like he had a good time being Ken.
And I think that was intended. She was playing the doll. Like she was playing the doll, but he almost was like a person the entire time. He had motivations. Like he had motivations the entire time. And her motivations were kind of thrust on her. So it kind of you can kind of feel that energy. He had motivation, so he had to drive, and hers kind of got like, oh, this weird stuff started happening to me. How do I fix it? I don't want these motivations. I just want to keep playing. You know what I'm saying? So
damn, it's like, was Ken woke the whole time then?
I mean, that's what it seemed like. He had a motivation. Like, so he was a person, like a person has motivations.
Yeah.
So he had more personhood the entire time, which is why like the other Kens really kind of didn't have anything, because none of them had motivations that we found out.
Yeah.
There was just, why are they there? Why are they doing the things they're doing? Even when everybody was doing the dance number, the only person we knew had motivations was stereotypical Ken.
And it's crazy. They couldn't even like give him the I don't know, the respect he deserved as being the first awakened person in Barbie land, not really Barbie.
Yeah.
He actually, I don't think he acted. He had a good time. He just showed up and had fun.
Yeah, like he had fun. But I thought it was good. I'll give it a 7. I did watch it a second time, so I would watch it again. I would probably watch it again. I wouldn't go look for it.
I would watch it with someone. Like if someone's like, I want to go see the movie, I would definitely go. Like, I wouldn't be like, no. But, like it's not something that I would just be like, oh, the Barbie. Like when it starts streaming, I'm probably, unless I decide I want to do a breakdown or I want to catch more Easter eggs, it has that kind of playback rewatchability for me. Like, oh, I want to catch more Easter eggs. But like after Act 1, I probably wouldn't hang in there. But
yeah. Ken's drip though. Oh, Ken, when he had the dripped out, he almost looked like Logan Paul when he had the white fur coat. I was like,
oh yeah, when he was like, because he was like modeling himself at the Rocky, I think.
Yeah.
I just died at all of them having the flat screen TVs. Now that was accurate. All them flat screen TVs everywhere.
Yes,
that was accurate.
Was it the Mojo Dojo Casa House?
Mojo Dojo Casa House.
That was beautiful. But that's how we do. We name stuff stupid names too. Like some of them. Yeah. Oh my god. But there was a lot of accuracy and there was a lot of embellishment. But I think that's true of any movie that's trying to, and I won't even say trying to push a feminist narrative, but I think I would say it was investigating, like a B9 said, a case study. It was looking
I think it definitely would.
I ain't gonna say pushing, but I'll say it investigated.
If you're like teaching it, if you're teaching feminism 101 via Barbies, you would want people to leave the movie learning something about feminism.
Yeah.
Or like understanding feminism a little bit better. Like if you took a class on women's studies, like if you took a women's studies course, they could literally use the Barbie movie to help with some of the concepts. So like, yeah. In that way, I do think it's pushing feminism. It is textbook, and they don't hide it. They use feminist language, and they like clearly like it's not like hiding that this is feminist theory here. So in that way, I do think it's pushing feminism. But
I will say again, I just differentiate between pushing and having. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a difference. Like I don't think anybody was trying to say that that's the way you should live, because what's her face was the daughter was almost in rejection of parts of it. You know what I'm saying? So, but I get what you're saying. Second thought, I give it a 3 because Issa Rae was in. See, I can't stand.
He don't like Issa.
He gave it a 4, and then he dropped it down to a 3 because Issa Rae was in.
He don't like Issa.
So he must
wow, we gotta unpack that.
We're gonna talk about that. But no, I think it was enjoyable. I think it's worth a watch. If you're not, if you're not even into Barbie, if you're not into feminism, I think it's just worth it because people are. Sometimes it's important to know just what's being put out there. So even if it's like this, I can't stand feminists. Okay, know what kind of stuff they're putting out there and how they're packaging it, so you know what kind of stuff is coming down the pike. For me, it was empty because at the end of it, what they showed women was to just get just get power, any means necessary, get power,
and that's feminist theory. And that's feminist theory. So that's why it's like it is feminist theory. Like you said, feminist theory is not trying to re-establish nuclear families, rebuild. It's get the power, get the bag. That is feminist theory. So yeah, it is. And at the end,
nothing was solved. Nothing was solved in the real world. Nothing really was solved in the Barbie world. Everything pretty much went back to status quo on both sides.
He said Ryan Gosling pouting at the camera. I mean, I'm not the way they had him. I'm just like, I don't think I wasn't really thirsty enough. He was so ridiculous in this movie. You just can't even see him that way in this movie. Yeah, it was so over the top. But women are animals. Women be listening. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yeah. But no, I appreciate having this conversation. I want to, Brie, I found something in the Bible because of something else. So when we talk next, I want to talk about this chapter in the Bible. I want to talk about.
You gonna just surprise me? I don't get to read it ahead of time.
I don't know if I want. I kind of want to spring it on you. I think it'll be fun for you and the audience to have this sprung on you. So we'll see. We'll see. I'll figure it out. But I gotta.
Okay.
Yeah. So next time, guys, I appreciate you, Bree. We are getting ready to head out. Bree's got a storm coming in. I am going to go do something. Today's Wednesday. Come back for Barcade Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern
Okay, that's
time.
Wednesday night.
Yeah, Wednesday night, 8 p.m.
So I will
Eastern
not
time.
game that night. I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna go live on Twitch. So it'll either be tomorrow, but hubby's leaving Wednesday, so maybe like Thursday or something like that.
Okay. That's what's up. All right, y'all. Hope y'all have a good rest of your Monday. Let me see. Yay, Bible study. Yeah, because when I saw it, I'm going to tell Brie. Brie will know. But it just popped in my head again because I was like, wow, why have I never seen that before? But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Let me find some music and we can bang on out. No, we're going to get the real one. Where the real one?
Stop playing with him, Riot. And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. All of the Barbies is bad. It girls, and we ain't playing tag. Rad, but he spank me when I get bad. I'm in LA, Rodeo Drive. I'm in New York, Madison Ave. I'm a Barbie girl. Pink Barbie dream house. The way Ken be killing shit got me yelling out like the scream house. Yelling out, we ain't selling out. We got money, but we ain't lending out. We got bars, but we ain't belling out. In that pink Ferrari, we pillin' out. I told Tay, bring the Bob Dylan out. The poop so cold, we just chillin' out. Baby yelling, yet yelling out. It's Barbie, bitch, if you still in doubt. And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. All of the Barbies is bad. It girls, and we ain't playing tag. Bobby ain't nothing to play about. He wanna play in a playhouse. They gon' say now. I'm watching these bitches, I'm rubbing a stain out. Like I'm ready to bend. All the fake Barbies just wanna pretend. Like, hold on, let me go find me a pen. Look where it led. Now I'ma put it to bed. She a Barbie bitch with her Barbie click. I keep dragging her so she bald a bit. And I see the bread, I want all of it. And I want the green, so I all of it. And I throw it back so he losing it. And I give the box with no shoes in it. Yeah, I know the trick, so I got him brick. Yeah, they know who hit me and Barbie, bitch. And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Pink felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull in a Ken. Like Jazzy, Stacy, Nikki. All of the Barbies is pretty. All of the Barbies is bad. It girls, and we ain't playing tag.